And we are live. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Saturday morning's show here on Rook and Rasp. And that is seriously, let's play. General idea is that we find a property out there that we don't think is getting nearly enough love, or that we really want to play, or occasionally we know the game developers and we want them to come run it for us. Just joking, but seriously, if you're a game developer out there, we would love to have you on the channel. Uh, but all things considered, my name is John. I'm one of the people who run Rook and Rasp here on the channel. And you're probably going to notice, yes, we have a slightly different layout today. One of our cast members just had something that came up, and so we did some adjustments. And today's going to be a three-player game. But today, we are playing Overlight by Renegade Games. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. After running. It was about 3 games ago. I ran Mistborn, and after running that game, when we go into a property that is so far, removed from expectation, I think it's a good idea to touch on it a little bit. But that said, hopefully everybody out there can hear me. Thank you very much, Bink. Good to see you out there in the world. Let's go ahead and meet all of our players really quick. Let's go in counterclockwise order for what I've got up on the screen. And Danielle, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
I'm Danielle. You can find me often on Seriously Let's Play, and I'm also on the One Legged GM channel on YouTube, playing with the Restore Core, and you can find me on Twitter at official WD42. And today I'll be playing Cola.
All right, and moving on down around. So Corey, if you'd introduce yourself.
I am Corey. I am playing the Harkina known as Fryn. Uh, I play here occasionally. I write everywhere. You can find me on Twitter. I do not remember my Twitter handle off the top of my head, but I could pop that into the chat somewhere at some point. And you'll just see me around, usually in the Rook and Rasp chat. That's pretty much it.
And we love having both y'all on there. We love our active members. By the way, be sure to check out our Discord over at Rook and Rasp, because that's a way that you out there in the audience can end up on this show. We pull directly from our community. We open it up first to our marginalized communities within Rook and Rasp, and then we open it up to general population so that we can make sure that everybody gets a chance to play. And going around though, Greg, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Greg the Rose. From the Rook and Rest community. I started watching with the Growing Shadows. I'm a big fanboy of that storyline. I've been on a couple of the shows for the one shots. I'm the owner of Amora Games. You can find me on tentacle at tentaclegreg.com. The blog is a little dead right now, but you can find me on Twitter at the same handle.
Yep. And Greg was also on our X crawl game that
Was
we did. So,
absolutely.
all right.
Oh,
So,
I'm playing Phalas, who is a pyro.
all right. So, we're touching on a property that is unusual. Uh, I'm going to give a little bit of background before I go too in depth on it. And I'm not going to try to go too in depth because I want us to play a game. Uh, Overall, Overlight is a game that was released by Renegade Games. The idea is that it was once a world like our world, a physical world, that was bound by the rules and understandings that we have. The world was round, things worked a certain way. Uh, but then an action took place, some sort of cataclysmic event turned it from being a physical world into more almost a fairy tale metaphysical world. Uh, the rules of reality, in a lot of ways, don't work here. One of the big ways is the overlight. Nobody knows what it is, but there is a source of light high up above where people live now that is always shining. It remains stationary. Nobody knows what it is. It could be a star. It could just be, God with a flashlight. We have no idea. Uh, Moving around, floating in the air for no reason whatsoever, are several land masses and continents that move in no particular pattern. But as you start, and if you look at our layout, you can see a picture of it on. It should be on the right side of your screen. You see a picture layout of the world. So the overlight is above. There are the land masses that float. Land mass is the size of continents in our world, and then below it is an endless sea. Uh, you can fly up as high as you want. You'll never reach the overlight. You can fall down into the ocean and swim as far as you want. You'll never find anything else. You can swim as deep as you want. You'll never find anything but water. You can try to leave the land masses that are these continents and go off, in some random compass rose direction, and you will find nothing else. All you have are these continents and the people that live there. So that is the world of Overlight, is this scaled idea of continents, and based on where they are, the amount of light and the quality and chroma of the light that is coming from the overlight reaches them. And you'll see that in that piece of artwork. Speaking of the artwork, Overlight is definitely a case of a game that I think we can say without a doubt. I'll ask my players, but the artwork and the design of this game overall is what sets it apart. Like, let me.
For sure.
The Game Master screen, I'll hold it in front of me so you can actually see it. The,
It's real pretty.
yeah, the dice sets that came with them, the book itself is absolutely phenomenal, and it is definitely a game that you cannot separate from the art style. And that said, I will definitely shout out. I believe the artist's name is Kwanchai Moria, and it's phenomenal, and everything that they do is phenomenal. It and it's not all like Overlight. I rarely do this, but sometimes there are creators out there in the gaming community that deserve a shout out. And Maria has done Dinosaur World. They did Dinosaur World, the artwork for that. Gravwell, Kabuto Sumo, Jiangxi, the Blood on the Dining Floor, that was put out by Banana Chan and also distributed by Wet Ink Games. High Rise. I don't know if y'all ever played that one where you build the buildings higher and higher in the middle of an island.
Yep.
They did the artwork for all those games, and so they created a lot of the flavor, in my opinion, for this world and this book that has become this part of the gaming zeitgeist that people look at it and they say, that's the pretty RPG. So, just wanted to toss that out there. So, of course, we're more than thrilled to get this opportunity to play this game. So, if you like it, go find it in a gaming store. I guarantee that it's going to be something unique to see. But that said, let me go ahead and get our music started. Oh, and I feel like a dork. Give me just 1 second. I left my adventure that I wrote for this over on the other computer really quick. So give me just a moment. We're gonna take a second for me to go grab that. I'm embarrassed. I am so sorry. I should have grabbed that earlier.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
I had to do this layout
distraction.
last second because we had a player that had to pull. So just give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
No.
All right. Told y'all it wouldn't take that long. I think it took less than a minute for me to go get that and bring it back over. My apologies. Usually I'm better prepared than this. Things happen.
It's a casual Saturday.
It's a casual Saturday. So let me go ahead and pull my players into the world a bit and present the story. You have waited. Waited for the shard that the great continent of Zenith to pass overhead for this part of the jungle of Quill. Bathed now in shadow and what passes for darkness in this high reaches of Overlight. Just before the source, that which gives light to the floating lands is eclipsed by the land of floating mountains. A small torrent of rain falls. Here on the lush jungle that surrounds you, so close to the crumble. And the crumble, if you look at the map, it's kind of, there's this area of jungles on one of the continents, and it's this broken apart, shattered into pieces. The water is cold and refreshing. There are small scatterings of clouds forming, but all of it is likely due to the runoff of a river from the snowy mountain peaks blasted by wind and separated in the air to fall here and now. The wisest of you guess you'll have many hours in this darkness to tend to your task. The continent will cross and day will resume in around 10 hours, give or take, only for the endless floating weave of the lands to continue as they always have, unpredictably. Thus is the way of Overlight. The loss of light means nothing to the giant salamanders who now stalk the smaller primates here, or the eyeless monkeys who move in troops for protections. Even in the darkness, you can occasionally see the flutter of metallic gossamer belonging to butterflies with 3-foot wingspans. The darkness will put you also in the sights of any feline gray melkin in the area. But the darkness will protect you and hide you from your all too sentient enemies. You were dispatched to these distant lands of Quill to investigate the disappearance of folk by an elder of the Skyborn Order. Your investigations had shown you that a greater conspiracy is afoot after finding a crying child who survived being abducted and following a loose trail of seemingly dead ends. Now you know members of the Nova Pendra Birthriders had been abducting laborers to toil until death in clearing a ruin that had been found. Birthriders are a cult who believe that the Nova Pendra should rule the shards. From the highest position, and other races should be servants, if not food. Worse yet is the fact that there are several Hark who have bought into this fantasy. But in fact, the recollection of this pursuit of the Hark purists should truly begin in a flashback montage, I would say. So, let me ask my players to, we're going to build a little bit of a scene together to introduce their characters to everyone out there.
All right.
So, you find yourselves on the continent of Hark, the Endless City. There is a continent that floats here in the Overlight that from one end to the other is nothing but buildings and civilization kind of populated by that which passes for men. So, that said, you're there investigating disappearances. And I want to get an idea of your character, how you see them, how you would describe them. You're in this city that is, to say it is a mixing pot would be an insult. There are various cultures of every kind that exist together, not blending together, but separate but equal. And, a menagerie of color, but at the same time, the corruption that comes with mankind. So, you're investigating these disappearances, and I want you to tell me, give me an idea, how would your character interact in this situation? You're looking into the disappearances of people that, in this endless city, normally, no one cares. It just goes a passing glance. There's so many people here, and it's so easy for people to just disappear, the unwanted, the lonely. How would you investigate this? And let's go ahead and I think I see some eyes that might have a twinkle. So Greg, do you have an idea of what your character would do? Describe your character and give us an idea of how you think they would interact in this situation.
Okay. Phalas is a Pyroi. I hope I say that right. He's the background is the Boneskin Thrall Scout, so he's probably 6'2", fairly well built. The Pyrois, their color is might. Their valor dice. There it is. Their valor is might. So he's fairly stocky, beefy, red-skinned as they all are. I believe they're all hairless. Mostly stoic, but he's used to the jungles, because he's a bone skin thrall scout. They move into areas before everyone else does, and they act as bait to draw out enemy forces or predators, whatever needs to be done. So he feels very out of place, the fish out of water situation. Uh, he knows that with this group that he's here to be the muscle if need be. He has some decency with technology as far as machinery, but usually he'll just, that door needs to be down. We can either rewire this or kick it down. That's his motive. So if anything, he would act as the overshadow, whoever wishes to be our lead in the investigation. He'll stand in doorways, act tough. More importantly, he would use some sort of, as a forward scout, have some sort of communications within his employer. He'll know where to go in the undercity side of the city, which there's plenty of in this place, and kind of muscle his way through to try to get information.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say, just to give an idea, and also to present something to our audience, the way that dice work in this world, we're going to go ahead and do a roll based on that.
Okay.
And you're showing yourself to be kind of like stoic, the stoic heavy, like you're the guy with your arms crossed, standing behind someone.
Yep.
So let's start off, and I feel like the skill with that. Would you be using? Are you holding any weapons in specific? Or are you just like more of a fisticuffs kind of person, just the look, kind of thing?
Just with the look, he's not going to brandish anything. It would just be mostly more stature and muscle strength.
All right. So I'm going to say that I'm looking at a brawl for the skill. Now, you're not just normal. The way this game works, you pull a skill, you take a virtue, and then you roll your spirit dice. But in this case, you're trying to affect people less in a physical manner and more in an emotional and spiritual manner of how you're interacting with them. So I'm seeing the virtue myself as maybe being will. Like, you're kind of like, you don't really want to mess with me. It's an overshadowing of your will rather than, say, might or vigor. So let's go with,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, let's go brawl. So that's going to be 3 dice based on your brawl skill. What's your brawl skill?
It would be a D6.
All right, so 3d6, and then your will. What is your will?
Is also D6.
All right, so that's 66, and also a d4.
And D4 is...
The
if you wanna
d4 is your
explain that
spirit
one.
dice. Now, spirit dice, main thing to really know about the d4 is that you want to roll a 4. And that can, depending on what you roll, either give you another point of spirit to be used in tests, or it can increase your level of your successes by 1 point. Because in this game, you need at least 2 successes. And the way successes are done, this is a dice pool system where a 6 is what's needed. So for every 6 that you roll, that is a success. And then if you roll a 4 on that d4, it'll augment all that. So that said, how many successes did you get?
I got 2 successes and a 2 on the I'll call it a wild die, but the D4.
All right. So with two successes, that is considered a luminous success. And
Okay.
in this case, you are successful. There are levels of success. This is kind of a bare minimum success. And we can say that maybe you're just very relaxed at this point. And it's not really something that you're having to find, to really flex or run or hit anything, and that's when you really shine.
Yes.
But it's more of
It's not the woods. I'm out of my element.
yeah. All right. Who would like to go next? Who would like to say what their character looks like and how they would interact in this situation?
I guess I can go. I am Harkeen myself, so or Hark. Would it be Harkeen or Hark? You think? Either way, um, Fran is probably sticking very close to her pyroid companion. Um, she's from Hark, but she was one of the so-called lesser classes. She grew up kind of as a grifter. She's not very proud of that, but she did what she could to survive before fleeing to join the Skyborn and everything. That she's not very comfortable being back in the city, but she doesn't show it as much as she probably could because again, she grew up here. She knows this city. Um, but she's the one that will be the information gatherer. She's very concerned because again, she's probably knows somebody who's been kidnapped at this point if there have been that many, and she wants to know what's going on. And she's got a very good brain for that sort of thing. Her best virtue is her logic. So she'd probably be there just to like talk to the people, figure out what's going on, and then go from there.
Okay. Well, based on what you're saying, uh, let's go ahead and I know you said logic is your best skill, but you're following clues and you're trying to figure out what's happening. So I'm gonna say inspiration, or not inspiration, intuition uh, will be your skill. Compassion, I think, is your driving force right now. That for this action that you're doing, you're the compassion towards the people who were in a similar situation to you. So, and then of
All
course
right.
the spirit dice. So, what is your intuition?
My intuition is a D8, so I need 3 D8. Correct?
Yep, 3d8.
I'm gonna use my colorful dice for that. And then my compassion is a D6, so I need 3 D6. And then my spirit die. Scooch all of my dice off of my limited rolling area. At least I have them organized by type. If this keeps up, I'm going to need to get a cup. That is a 4 on my spirit die, but I need to get more than a 6 on any die.
6 is the base. 6 is what you need for success.
Yeah. Nope. I kind of rolled low on all of them.
Okay. So, and your spirit dice, what did you roll on that?
I did roll a 4 on the D4.
Okay.
So,
All right. So, technically, when you don't roll any successes and you don't get any, even with the 4, you will get it's technically no effect. In this case, even though you should normally get a spirit point, but you need to succeed for that spirit point to come along.
yeah, the highest number I rolled was a 5.
It's a
So it's
difficult
like,
system. It can be a seriously difficult system. But we'll say that you're going through the city and you're looking for people. And the main issue that you're running into is a lack of compassion. A lot of people will say, they probably haven't disappeared. They're probably in the hanging prison. They probably hacked off one of the higher ups. And that said, there are areas of Hark where there is literally a hanging prison, little pieces of islands that hang in the sky with bridges and cages suspended from them and guards that walk between them. And it's kind of a it's not a great place. I mean, I think of it as a dungeon with all the doom and gloom, but a heck of a lot more light. Um, so it's very hard finding, any of these clues. But let's go ahead and go to Danielle. Danielle, for your character, go ahead and tell us a little bit about them, what they look like, and how you think they would be looking for people or interacting in these situations.
Paula is Benyari. At first, if you were in the woods at first glance, you're just going to see a cute little furry creature until you realize that the tree they are within is part of them. So when they're outside of other trees and benches, they're long, lean, and have branches wrapped around them as they're moving through the city. But they look like they want to reach out and hold people. Vanari are known to be very compassionate beings, and Kola grew up as a lord who was raised to protect. They did leave their people and actually spent a long time with the Pioris. The Pioris? Pronunciation's hard. Because they did find attunement with might and wrath as well. They're a bit of a contradiction.
I like them a lot. They're one of my favorite creatures in this world. But
They look like they're fine.
Basically, they protect, don't take what's theirs.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you say are the strong points for your character?
Very compassionate. They would be looking for the often overlooked to reach out to them. They would see the urchins and the poor, those that need the help.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say in this case, I think perception would be a great skill to start with for, looking out and watching. And I'm going to also say compassion for your virtue. So 3 dice from each of those plus your spirit dice.
Okay. So my compassion is D10, so 3 of those. Perception is D6, 3 of those, and my D4. I got 3 on my D4, and I got 1 success.
Okay. I'm going to say, just so you're moving the story along, and now that everybody has an idea of this game, and it is pretty difficult to get the successes necessary, but it also, I think that can fail forward, build from where things are. You are going to places and following what Friend knows of the city, and going to the places where the undistinguished, those who are part of the lower ends of society, who could disappear without a trace, and most people wouldn't care. Friend guides you there, and Phaelus, you manage to kind of work him back up to everybody. But Kola, it's so difficult. The city is, even in these sections, a mass of people. And as far as you can see in the distance are nothing but buildings. And it feels like you're looking for that needle in a haystack. You actually would have all missed it. Except for that moment that as you're passing by one of these alleys, you hear a cry for help. And I'm going to narrate a little bit. You rush into the alley, and down at the end, you see a figure, one of the citizens of Hark, who is dressed in a red robe has grabbed a child and is trying to drag that child backwards down the alley. But they look up, they see your eyes. They're quite a ways away. They're failing forward. You are not close to them. So they see you, you see them, and they take off. So now we are in a pursuit moment.
Is it possible I have the chroma that is the aspect of the magma links, which allows me to move no matter the distance up to the person and make a melee attack? Would that be something at least to grab the child from their hands?
I would allow that, yes.
Okay.
This is a different kind of test. This is a chroma test, meaning that you are going to need to roll 6 dice that represent the virtues tied to this power. Expanding on this concept of this game for viewers as you put your dice pool together, these characters are all what we call Skyborn. They may or may not be members of the Order, but they are all Skyborn, meaning that they have been born with something slightly different about them, some sort of blessing. Now, it is common enough that it is not like they are the chosen ones, but it is uncommon enough to where it is not, it's like 1 in every 100, maybe 1 in every 1,000 are born with these powers. So, each one of the characters in this game should and does have powers. So, going forward, what are the 2 powers for your chroma?
It is logic and vigor. Both are a D8. That's my favorite dice today. And I do roll a spirit die with this as well. Is that correct?
Yes, you do.
Excellent. Okay, nothing on those yet. There's 1. I have 1 success.
All right, and so
Spirit die was a 3.
all right, that means that your power will kick off. Or actually, you only got 1 success.
Yes.
All right. Technically, I don't believe your spirit power goes off. I think it requires the 2 successes still.
That's what I thought to get the first luminous.
Yes. If you had rolled a 4, that's what it would have cost you, and the cost would have been the cost of your spirit dice. And so what happens is that you draw upon that power, but the emotion is overwhelming for you in this moment. What were the virtues that were tied to this?
Logic and vigor.
All right. You call upon those virtues within you, and the chroma, that the colors are associated with that blue color of air for that logic, and that red color of vigor from the light that also represents that power within you. But you are the compassion, the fear for the child is overpowering, and even though you call on your power, it does not kick off, and everybody is now running after them. That said, let's all go ahead and we're going to do an initiative check. Initiative in this game works as they roll and you roll. One person who you choose who's kind of like the leader in this situation. I will let the players decide who you want to roll, and then you choose the virtue that goes along with it. Based on why you are the one leading the team. And you roll versus me. Whoever rolls higher is the person that goes.
You would have, if you had kind of stopped to do your spell, I would have been running.
I'm good with that.
The minute I heard someone yell, I would have been running. So
Okay.
Yeah,
So do you want to
I
say
will
that,
follow.
Akila, do you want to be kind of the leader representing this group going forward?
sure.
All right. So you want to say that it's your compassion?
That's definitely my thing. So,
All right. So go ahead and roll your compassion virtue.
and that is a 10.
Nice. Okay. Y'all are going to be going before them. So
Yay!
and the way this works, you work as a team. All three of you, your initiative kicks off together. This isn't a trade-off thing. All three of you will be able to say what your actions are, work together before the enemy takes theirs.
All right.
So
Describe your actions. Work it out together. Danielle, you were saying that that for Kola, she would be, or they would be. Sorry, apologies. They would be going and running down the alley towards them. Was there something else you were going to be doing with that?
I would be reaching out with the branches and actually using one of my chromas, which allows me to extend those and grab around something and hold tight. And since I don't want to worry about harming the child, I would be grabbing them.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get that power kicked off.
Okay. So that is compassion and vigor, which is D10 and D6.
Good chance.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
So 3 in the will.
Two successes and 2 on my spirit.
All right. So the cost. So you said 2 successes.
Yep.
Power should kick off, and then also the cost of your spirit is going to be those 2 points. So your spirit rating will go down by that much.
You're talking about our spirit pool.
Yes,
Yep.
the spirit pool. So in a Chroma test, whatever you roll on that D4 is the cost of the power. So it could anytime it could be anywhere from 1 to 4. But so you extend and wrap your branches around this figure who struggles and is just caught unaware for the brief moment. The other 2 of you, what are y'all going to be doing?
If the attempted kidnapper is about to turn and smack Cola, I've got my knives out ready to throw them, because I'm probably not quite as fast as somebody who can use roots to travel along the ground.
Well, mind you, I've extended the lengths of my branches. I'm not like really close. I just have them wrapped.
Yeah, that still gives you a bit of a mobility advantage, I think. But no, I'm definitely getting up. If I can catch up, I'm also going to make sure the kid is okay. Because, I mean, like...
Okay. That'll be your primary goal with this, is to get down there.
The kid,
All right.
grab the kid away from the kidnapper. So.
All right. I am going to go ahead and say I will give you a choice, and that would be athletics or brawl, because I can see either of those actions being a part of getting someone away from another person, and also the fact that you're moving so quickly or trying to. So pick one of those skills, and then I would also say might or vigor. To the table, I'm going to ask what is the associated virtue with the whichever skill you use.
So, if I use athletics, I'm going to be using vigor, which is the associated. I do have a question.
Yes.
On some of my skills, like brawl, I don't have a dice written there. What would that be
In
the
that
future?
case, in that sad case, which
It
can
would
come up in
just
this game, rather than rolling 3 dice, you only get to roll 1d6 for that skill.
Okay. I mean, that works.
Little
I was
hidden
expecting...
rule in the book that I had to find.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting, like, hey, if you don't have something written there, you just don't roll that. You only get your 3 die for your attribute.
There's
Or
always a
trait.
chance.
Yeah. Alright. So, athletics, which is a d6, vigor of a d8, and my d4, which actually rolled well for me. I'm going to move the M&M I had grabbed. So, there's a 6, there's an 8, there's a 7, 3 successes and a 2 on the D4, which is, I'm assuming, the D
Yep.
spirit die.
All right, so 3 successes puts you still within the range of that basic success, the luminous. And had you rolled a 4, it would have pushed that 3 up to a 4, so you would have gotten the next success level, which is radiant. But for a
Yeah, now
luminous, yeah,
I'm gonna do have a question. If I rolled max on a die type, do they explode or no?
they do not explode.
Okay. So I'm not gonna worry about that.
It's sadly not Savage World.
Yeah.
I know. I do have to ask because sometimes, like, hey, that's also a mechanic. But no.
It is in a lot of games, and quite frankly, it's one that I think could have been explored. But, you know, hey,
Hey. I mean, I still made 3 successes, so I'm happy with that.
3 successes, you get your luminous success, so you run over and pull the child away from this individual, perhaps shielding them a little bit with your body, depending on what actions they take. But finally, so Greg, for the character of Phalis, what are they going to be doing?
Knowing how their companions are working and running at the same time, I would be more precision. I would want to logically tackle the individual, not so much on might, but logic. I'm trying to close the distance. If I have to parkour over a trash can or whatever their equivalent
I like
is,
that.
that's the path I would want to take. So I was thinking logic and athletics.
Let's go for it. Logic and athletics.
So that's D8 and D6.
And what is
And a
the
D4.
ultimate outcome that you're hoping to do? Just be there, or?
Just be there to tackle them,
All right.
or at least grab the hood. Just close the distance is what I'm looking for. All the dice.
I do have the one
I
draft
got-
till the end of my turn, next turn.
I got 1 success.
1 success and no.
Oh, it's what's the difficulty? 6. I got 2.
There you go. Yep,
And I
6.
got a 2 on the spirit die.
All right. So luminous success. You are there now, and I'm gonna say that you grab his hood on his robe, but you don't have it pulled taut or anything. You just have a good handle on it.
The grip. Yep, perfect.
All right. Now for his action, he is going to, and this is the way the game works, is that he is for his action. You don't roll against it. It has nothing to do with a die type for you. He has a set pool of physical dice and a set pool of mental dice, and that is all that he gets to use.
Okay.
So he will be trying to get away, and he has to make the same success level as you. He has to roll a 6 on his dice. Now his physical dice for this character is only 6 d6s, and he only gets 4 of them. So you can see that the scale of difficulty and difference for you versus an NPC. However, I rolled a 5, a 3, and I rolled 2 6s. So that is a luminous success. So he basically ducks under through his robe, like pulls his arms into the robe, and kind of climbs out from underneath it to get away. Kyla, your character, or Danielle, your character, has their limbs wrapped around this cloak, and Phalis as well. You have a handle on it, and you see them kind of just like their head, this boop sticks, this falls out from this cloak, and that is their action. They have gotten out of it to get out of your grapples. So I'm going to say one more action, just to get y'all feeling, and we'll go back to where your characters were in the current timeline. What are y'all going to be doing? And let's go ahead and who would like to start this off? I think that Kola was saying that they have a action or something that was going to take place.
Just the grip lasts till the end of my second action.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to say that they've shaken that off, but that you still have a grapple on them because Chroma Powers override.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So I still have their ankle. there was one vine around their ankle they didn't get out of.
All right. What would you like to do for your action, though?
I'm gonna punch him.
Give him a good punch. Let's go for it. So, brawl with the associated virtue.
Okay, gotta grab different dice. D8s. And D8s, because it's for all his might.
Yeah, I pulled out extra dice. Like, oh wait.
2, 3. 3 successes and a 2 on my spirit.
All right, so 3 successes. That is 3 points of damage done to them.
Nice.
So
I'm not happy.
a combat test, your successes transfer into damage. So, which makes combat, honestly, when you really think about how combat can go in a RPG, that can get kind of lethal, or at least very dangerous.
Real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, especially looking at the health track. Like,
Mm-hmm. So, you punch him in the nose, and I'm gonna say he starts crying. But let's go from there. What other actions is our team going to be taking?
As a comical effect, since I'm right there, just body splash him. Jump right on top of him.
All right. Brawl with associated virtue.
What? Okay, so might and brawl.
Yep.
Tens. All right, my brawl is not pretty, but we'll do it. And my D4. Oh, come on.
You rely more on intimidating than punching them like I do.
It is. I got 8. And that's all I got.
All right. You body splash or try to jump on them and end up landing only on the back of his calves.
I mean,
But he's
it's
tied
so
up,
weird.
so.
All right. And finally, Fren, what are they going to be doing?
Fran is. She's gonna make sure the kid is okay and unharmed, and then telling the kid to run, before turning her attention to the would-be kidnapper. If they've got him kind of tied up for the moment or held down, she's gonna crouch in front of his just punched nose with one of her blades just in her hand and says, "We've been looking for information. You're gonna tell me that information."
Sounds great. Let's go with a blades, and I will actually offer this up because this is intimidation. This is you versus them. The virtue thereof could either be your will over their will, or I'm also gonna say, how about your spirit over their spirit? If you do not have a spirit rating, it's the pool.
Okay, so that's 5. So what would that?
Or actually, sorry,
translate to?
I've got it written down here wrong. So it will end up just being the compassion, or not
Okay.
compassion, the will over him.
Will.
I don't know why I've got that
Okay.
written on here like that.
Yeah.
I think there's one race that gets that.
Mm. Forgot the D4. 6.
Yes.
7.
And we have a That Was Cocked from Escape Box Games. So Ted, thank you for coming in tonight, or today.
Thank you. And that's 3 successes and a 2 on the spirit die.
All right. That Was Cocked, do you want to re-roll that D4 and try and get a 4 on it? Or do
Try to
y'all
get
want
a
to
4?
save that for the next scene?
You know what? I'm gonna stay. I still have a luminous success. It's just not the next one, which would be radiant. So
I mean,
I'm gonna
his
save
nose. His nose is bleeding. We're laying over his legs.
that. Playing with a nice little shiny knife crouched down in front of him.
Very nonchalantly, the knife is right in front of his nose, and
Mhm.
you say your phrase of, and he crumples. The fight is out of him. And the child that was about to be abducted has ran off into the crowd.
Good. I do have a question. Would I have noticed, like, if it was just like a street urchin or belonging to an actual wealthier family, or anything about that?
It was a street
No.
urchin.
Street urchin. Ooh, Bryn's a little annoyed on top of everything. Not only is it a kid, it's a street urchin kid, which she was at one point.
So the information
Oh.
that you gain from this individual is what leads you to where you are now in the jungles of Quill.
Right.
He was a true believer of this path. In fact, as you're you know interrogating him, you notice that he's cut off a few of his fingers
Oh, wow.
with the intent of feeding them to his overlords as a sign of fealty. Yeah, but he reveals proudly that you may defeat him, but you can never defeat the true masters of the shards.
They always say that.
Always. Why?
Bryn's just like, whatever. Eye roll, as only a young woman could give.
Just hearing a low growl.
Like,
But you gain the knowledge from them essentially after this interrogation, which essentially has to be done in privacy because in the city of Hark, being what you are is not given any credence. Just because you have a special birthright to you, they don't really care. You still have to obey their laws. You have to do what they say, and the lords of the land still hold greater power than an urchin. And it could be that they wouldn't even care.
they would.
But you interrogate and you gain the information that leads you to Quill. You depart from the continent of Hark, traveling to the edge of this continent city. You know, probably takes you days. Endless buildings, rows and rows, and people in swarms and masses, till you get to the edge. A member of the Pyroi is there and offers for a very nominal fee the opportunity to fly to Quill. So you all get on the back of a giant bat. Think if you've ever seen Neverending Story, the bat that one character climbs onto and they fly off. Something around that, something like that. Sentient, large. But
Sweetheart.
you get onto it and it circles away from the city. And the wind, at first, as you're leaving the continent, is something maybe you've never experienced before. Some of you may have before. Obviously, if you're not from Hark, that is not something that's something you've had to do before. There are sky ships. There are giant butterflies. There are many ways to move from continent to continent, but it's a long travel. Just as traveling intercontinental in our world, imagine being on the back of a bat for 3 days as you travel from that continent and down into Quill. Finally, you make it into that jungle and go towards, the shattered areas of this continent. Leftovers from a time that I would say, Kola, you are familiar with. The shatter happened when your continent ran into this one, and it broke out into a great war between the two races that lived there. Your race did pretty good, and your continent's still in one piece. This one, not so much. This is where the flying serpents. This is their continent. And you make it away from what's left of their cities and out into the jungle, traveling quite a bit before you finally reach these ruins. And it takes you moments to try and get a feeling for what's going on. That you notice that lucky moment. The continents here, they move through the air at will. There's no way to guess. There is no 24 hours of night and day. There is always daytime, and hopefully sooner or later something crosses overhead and blocks out the sky. I mean, that to me, in our world, can you imagine that? No, never-ending day.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Nope, for Norway.
Some MMOs I've played.
Yeah.
So, as you're waiting there in the jungle, you see these ruins ahead of you. You're not certain what time period they are from. They are ancient, but seemingly large, circular, and leveled, uh, fully enclosed, one doorway in. And at the entrance to that doorway, you see, again, two Hark, likely true believers, and they're guarding that entrance.
Alright.
But you do have the element of surprise, or you can go about this how your characters would say. This is how things are presented. You are now in the jungle. You have cover, and you have a moment to yourself to come up with a plan.
I do have a way to eavesdrop because I've got the Chroma of voice in the crowd, which
Oh, cool.
could be fun. So if we're close enough, I could probably try doing that. So
I'm all right with that.
Mm-hmm.
Before we actually, that way we can get a surveillance of what we have.
yeah, I'm gonna do that. So that's my logic and my compassion.
All right. And so, what is the chroma you're using?
Voice in the crowd, which is a logic and compassion chroma.
Okay.
So
And what we get?
all right, that is 3 successes and a 3 cost.
Yep.
Nice.
All right.
So, and that would let me listen to one of them in the conversation. Does one look a little bit more senior in rank than the other, or
At least senior in age. We'll say that.
I'm
One
going
of
to listen to the I'm going to listen to the older of the two in that case, because I can only hear one side of the conversation that they're having with just the one success or the luminous.
been waiting out here for a while. I don't know when our replacements are supposed to get here. And that's you're hearing that as part of the conversation from the other guard, but the lead guard's just like, we are here as long as the Nova Pendra tell us we are here. Our job is to serve. And it's also our job to be watching for whenever the next batch of volunteers arrives. And the other one's just like, look, I can go and get some food or something. Really, nothing's going to happen out here. Even the Grey Malkin, they've stopped coming around ever since we killed a few of them. And the older one again, it is our duty to serve. Or should you be reminded? And he holds up a hand with one finger cutting off. That's cut off. The other one just shakes his head and says, "No, I will serve." But at the same time, in the background, you hear the sounds of labor. The sounds of rocks being split, things being dragged along the ground, large objects through, the sounds of sand and dirt, detritus. That the sounds of that sort of moving in heavy labor.
All right.
So
I give them the information too.
Now, as a part of this, is there someone specific we are actually looking for, or is this a free all the children situation?
it could. What was happening is homeless of varying ages had just been disappearing, and it probably would have passed unnoticed, but somebody said something to one of the Spiritborn,
Gotcha.
and that's where our Skyborn, and it made it to where they were like, we need to look into this just in case.
Okay.
So, we need to rescue as many of their volunteers as we can.
Well, especially if another group is already on its way. That makes me even more nervous. Time's of the essence, but we sticking around and trying to make sure that the new labor doesn't actually arrive, or when it does arrive, save them. So this is a tough call. Um, Normally, I would say let's start taking them, move in, take the guards, and keep going. But yeah,
Or
I,
there is one more option, Phalis. We could wait for the. Is there an obvious road, by the way?
Not until you get within about 20 feet of the ruins, and it's obvious only because they have pounded it down with the people moving through it.
Okay, so there's no track for us to wait further in the forest area. Okay.
Well, I will say this. If you want to do a survival check to try and see if you could find some place, I would allow that.
Yeah, I could try.
I can
Would-
help out with that. That's my thing.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I at least have points in survival.
yeah, survival, and if both of you want to make a roll to try and see if you can find a place, but give me an idea what specifically you would be looking for. I know that for Friend, you said you were looking for a road.
Road or an obvious path, something that the new volunteers, quote unquote, would be traveling down with their guards
Okay.
to see if we could overtake the guards and take the volunteers in ourselves.
All right.
Ooh.
That's an idea. I would be looking for, I guess, not the high ground, but an overall vantage point to get a lay of the full land. Like, how big is this complex? Where is an entryway? Possible drainage tunnels to sneak up through.
Okay.
And in that case, I would also like to look for, as I'm very one with the jungle, some place that we could easily hide but come from. Some sort of like little nook in the woods where there's a rock outcropping where vines are covering it, something like that, so that we could lie in wait.
Question for my dice pool: would you want me to use logic or vigor as the trait or the virtue?
I would personally be looking at logic because
Which is my
yeah.
better dice pool.
I will say that for Phalis, because of the overall possibly looking for another way in was mentioned. For that portion of the information, I will be looking for a radiant success.
Okay.
And Akila, pretty much, I would say survival, but at the same time, if you have something in intuition, I would also let that come into play.
My survival's higher.
All right. So let's go around the table and let's start since Friend kind of initiated all this. I'm going to start with Friend.
So, 2 successes and a 4 on the spirit die. So, would that automatically
Nice.
raise it up to the radiant?
So how many successes? You said 2?
I had 2, but the 4 on the spirit die. So I'm not
Alright.
sure if that would compound or if it's just that would have only added if it was a
So
3 success.
the way it has to be 3 successes for it to knock
Okay.
it up to the next level, but that helps to refill your spirit pool and gives 1 point back. So anytime that you roll like a double, like 2s, 4s, 6s, and you get that 4 on the spirit dice, it gives you another point for that pool.
Okay.
When you roll a 1, 3, or a 5, it knocks it up to the next level of success. Yeah,
Okay, so
it's a little confusing, but once you wrap your mind around it, it
it,
works.
yeah, it kind of like, hey, priority is if you have the 3, but you need one more to knock it up to the next level, it takes that spot. Otherwise, it just
Yep.
gives you a nice little benefit,
Yeah.
which makes sense to me. I like that.
All right. I'm gonna say that you do find an area that looks like the growth is bramble nearby, and they have to move through a specific area. And that you think would be the best place to go. I'm gonna move over to Akila for Kola. They are looking for rocky outcroppings and good places to come out of. So go ahead and make your roll next.
Uh, I I rolled a waiting. I got 3 successes with a 4 on my
Oh,
spirit die.
nice.
All right, so that's what we call a spirit flare, and that knocks you up to the next level of success. So that would give you the equivalent of 4 successes, making it a radiant success.
Nice.
Uh, I'm gonna say that you not only find uh, locations, you not only find one location that works for you, but you actually find locations where everybody could hide. And with it being a radiant success, because this is that next level, this is a little bit better. You also think that you find a place that, depending on what you do with the guards, you could hide them there, knock them out, and it would be a place out of the way.
Nice.
So moving on though, Phaelus,
I got 2.
two
So just
successes.
the luminance. Yeah.
All right. So you don't find another entrance in, but as you move away from the doors with your, looking into this, you do realize that it's insulated enough that you think that anything that happens outside beyond the jungle, the sounds of the wildlife, a little bit of the rain, uh, you think that there's definitely a chance that you can do this and not be heard. And you find some trees that are definitely scalable if you so wish to get the high
Yeah.
ground.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, as you make your way around this building, the stone exterior that is intricately carved. Yeah, it's like the sounds of the guard and the sounds that are coming from within the ruins fade away, and you're like, if I can't hear them, they can't hear us.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Nice little advantage there.
Yeah, absolutely. I explored what I could. I'm not sure what you all came back with. I did not find another entrance. It's the rain and the dark. I haven't fully adjusted all the way with my eyes. But the sound is locked in, so anything outside can't hear, and anything inside, I can't hear anything with the rain. So sound advantage for sneaking. We can be covered.
All right. So I think that's our best bet, is to wait for this next group, see if we can take them in ourselves.
Mhm. And I feel like I've been here before. I found some great places for us to hide and to hide them.
Oh,
That's
okay.
even better. Thank
It
you.
is.
Thank you.
As you're talking, you think that you hear in the distance actually the sounds of people moving through the brush. And you think it might be the group coming.
Wow.
That's our cue.
Yep.
Get
Okay.
hidden.
Move into position.
You see uh, in the lead is a hark, a member of the Hark who is covered in chitinous armor. You've heard of this before. Trophy hunters. Those who live and exist to hunt other sentient creatures and then wear the parts of their body as armor. And they're leading a group of about 5 people. I'm going to say one of them appears to be a young teenager. The rest of them are perhaps in their late teens to 20s. It's hard to tell. I am also going to toss out there that friend, you think you know one of them.
Hmm. As in the friend that it might have been kidnapped, huh?
Yeah. You take up your position. They did absolutely horrible on any sort of notice roll to know that you're there. So I literally rolled 3 ones and a 4 for them. So you take your positions. You ready yourselves. What are you going to do? Who's going to take the lead on this? Let's start there. I'm going to let y'all have one. Everybody here is going to have one surprise action before we roll initiative.
I am fairly well at throwing. I have the Chroma Hunter's Telemetry.
Nice.
I think I said that right. So when I'll wait for the signal when someone says, and I will throw at the main person, acting as bait as my people do.
Yeah, I'm not a thrower.
Yeah, but you are a good grappler. So
Yeah.
I guess
Okay.
my brilliant idea. Let's go with me
All
first.
right.
I don't suppose this would be a performance roll.
The only reason I would say performance could come into play in this is that if you want to try to convince the prisoners to join you in fighting back.
You know, I'm going to take that chance because one of them knows me.
Yep.
In the group. So. What
Yeah.
would be the initiative roll? The logic?
So
the one.
I'm not going to make y'all roll
Or-
initiative until
Okay.
after the first round. Y'all all can get surprise action in there, but let's go ahead and get your perform.
Performance is D10. Logic or will?
I would actually say will,
Yeah.
but you can always I will always let you, if you so wish, default to the appropriate virtue that goes with it.
I think I'm gonna go with will.
Okay.
Both are good, but. Four successes. Only a 1 on the spirit die, but 4 successes. 2 7s, an 8, and a 9.
Ooh, nice.
They are all motivated. So that's that radiant success, and you call out, and it's like it lifts their spirits. You see within them, we actually might have a chance. And they after this when initiative goes, they will all be going. But that said, who next would like to take their action?
If you're gonna throw, you go first, because
Okay.
I'm just going to be a verily little bundle of rage lunging. Right now, I'm channeling my anger for my chroma.
So I would like to use Hunter's Telemetry.
Okay.
So I guess I would be activating that to throw.
Yes, you will.
Before I throw. So it's a logic and vigor for this. So it's all D8s. Yep, all D8s and a D4.
Nice.
And our difficulty is 6.
Yes, a 6. It's
Okay.
always 6.
Okay. So there's 2 so far. 3 more dice.
And what'd you roll on your spirit?
I got 3 successes and a 1 on my spirit.
Hey, that's always good, because that means that only costs you 1 spirit point to do
It
this.
does, which is nice. So that'll put me at 8.
So yeah, it kicks off, and on the write up for that power, does it say that you need to roll damage beyond that, or does it just say that is the roll?
Let me go find it. Okay, so the luminous spirit pool cost is just reduced. Result of the dice. So the action, because you use your spirit points, when making an accurate or precise shot maneuver.
Aha,
Accurate
yes.
fire. I would like to do a precise shot. That makes more sense to hit the guy in the face. It reduces the cost to do
Indeed. So you're doing which precise shot? All right.
Yes, which is 4, and since I got 3, it's reduced by the spirit die result, so it reduces it to 3.
All right. This is a fun one. I'm gonna read this out loud. So, you much like Chroma requires spirit points. There are maneuvers in combat that require spirit points, and neat little things that you can do that the GM can either say you can do or come up off of powers. But precise shot. There are times when accuracy is of the utmost importance in striking an artifact out of a villain's hand, throwing a dagger to switch a lever, severing a purse string with a crossbow bolt. At the GM's discretion, you may make a precise shot. And a stated goal that requires pinpoint accuracy. Precise shot is not intended for an accurate attack. That's what accurate fire is for. But for other non-attack actions during combat that are done with this. Now I'll come up with something for you to if you'd like. Uh, but then perform a skill test using a skill decided by the GM. Most common skill for this maneuver is wind lore, but creative GMs and players might find inspired ways for athletics, crafts, or even beast ways. And
I have Windlore and Blades are the same,
so let's say that you make your precise shot, and in the rain, one of the trees, the roots have gotten weak. You throw whatever it is, and it strikes the roots, and the tree will fall over on top of your enemy.
I
If you can
love
make
it.
if you can make the test.
Make the test. I think Windlore would be good because that goes with the telemetry, the arcs and the angles. Also, my Blades is a D8. Do you think logic or might? Because I could see the strength behind the power, especially if I'm hitting roots. But I see logic more as the analytical straight angle.
Being the kind of GM I am always. How would you describe it? What is it? Because and if you have one that's better than the other, describe it that way.
Just using my massive build to launch one of my obsidian knives, I have to get through this. Yes, it is a partially dead tree, but I have to break through it. So I think might would be my strength in that.
All right, let's go for it. So that wind lore and might.
Yeah. All over. That is a 10 and 8, 1 on the spirit die, and then a 7. So I got 3.
All right. The tree, you strike and it falls over, and you watch as it just comes down in the rain and hits him square on the head, breaking apart the skull of some creature he was using as a helmet, and just driving him to the ground. And
Awesome.
now we're on to Kola.
So who's left?
We have 2 more guards in the back.
I'm going to go with that. I am going to channel Craft Strike, which I can do simultaneously with an attack. And it gives me extra damage. So I think I need to
Alright,
channel
yeah.
that first.
Yes.
See if I get that off first. I have 1, 2, 3 successes with a 3 on my spirit.
All right, so 3 successes with 3 on your spirit, so it is successful. If there's any bonus that is provided for that number of successes, you use that. But otherwise, the cost is the whatever you rolled on your spirit dice,
Yeah.
and now you need to make your test.
Basically, if it's just a luminous, my next successful melee attack deals 1 extra damage.
There we go.
I really love the idea of a natural tree falling on a guy, not knowing where someone else is, and then Cola just vines and everything coming out.
Essentially, a tree comes after them.
Love it. Absolutely love the visual.
So would this be brawl then?
Yes.
More d8s. The rest of my d8s. Only 1 success. And 1 on the moon spirits.
So it's I'm gonna say that the vines come out, and they're gonna freak out a little bit. Uh, one of the vines wraps around the foot of one of these guards, and they're an unnamed guard, so really doesn't. They don't have a lot of hit points or anything like that. But it wraps around their ankle and drags them off into the brush, and all the people hear is him kind of screaming as he gets dragged into the underbrush, away from everything. But there is still one guard standing there, and he's looking around, and he's looking at this group of people who now realize he's the only guy still standing. And in mass, the 5 prisoners turn to look at him. And your team, I really feel like for one guy at this point, there's not really a need for initiative.
Yeah.
What would you like to do? How would you like to describe this with this last guard? Is he going to run off screaming into the woods, or is he going? Are y'all going to come out and just take him down?
Well, I don't think he's going to scream going off into the woods when the woods just attacked them.
I think taking him down would probably be for the best.
I think so too.
Because if we let him loose, then he can, go off and get reinforcements, which we don't need.
Yeah.
It's less than we need.
I think taking him down is a good option.
Yeah, I think he's avoiding the woods, though.
All right. Blows come from the prisoners. And between the vines, and a couple of them wrap their own bindings around him to drag him to the ground. And one of you run out of the woods and just, pops him across the face, and glass jaw, he is out cold.
I like it.
That's awesome.
So you have this moment in the darkness now. You are tying these figures up, hiding them off the trail. The 5 individuals thank you for saving them. They reveal that they had been, some of them have been abducted here locally from Quill, some of them from Hark. And they are very thankful, and they don't really have a lot of information for you. But they do know that their captors had said that they were taking them to a Nova Pendra. Now, that word I'm going to say you don't need to make a beast lores or beast ways or anything else knowledge. Nova Pendra are sentient beings from the lower reaches of the world of Overlight, and they are sentient centipedes, roughly about 20 feet in length. They stand at their waist, halfway down. Their body comes up and rears up like this, and walking around.
Is that why they've been cutting off their fingers to feed them?
So this cult group, and let me change up the music really quick. This cult group is known for believing that these peoples, the Nova Pendra, who live in the lowest reaches of the Overlight, where light barely gets down to, it is a desert. But they are known for very different ways and cultures. Not all of them they're not necessarily bad. But some people in interviews and discussions and studying of this culture believe that their culture is elevated higher than any other. Some Nova Pendra began to believe that. And they formed this group, and the people served them as either servants or as prey.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I have to interject. Those recently rescued, the 5, do they know how they got there? Do we need to hide them until we retrieve them to get out?
One of them says that they can lead their way back to a colony that's out here, that on Quill, and they will take the weapons from these guards to arm themselves on the way. But otherwise, they're like, well, we should be okay. We can wait for you if you want. We can wait for you and travel back together, or we can go and make our way.
It might be best for them to make their way, because that way my friend can hopefully contact reinforcements. Maybe. Hopefully. I can't guarantee it, but...
Yeah, we don't want to
Somebody
put
can-
them more at risk.
Yeah. Well, reinforcements among the Skyborn.
All right. So
It might be wild, but hey, worth a shot.
a few of them hug you before they leave, and they make their way back in the way they came. And now, the entrance to the ruins lies in the forest in the darkness beyond, now illuminated by perhaps torches, makeshift torches, at the entrance. You can see the light that illuminates the area around the guards. Still just two of them, but you do also now notice it's new guards. They just did a shift change. And it is here for a moment that we're going to actually go ahead and take a short break. We're about an hour and a half into the game, and I hope everybody comes back in just a few minutes. We're going to take a 10-minute break, let everybody get a drink, use the restroom, hydrate, dehydrate, and we'll see you in just one moment. So let me go ahead and change us over. See y'all in 10.
See you in 10.
Bye, guys.
All right, well, welcome back everyone to Seriously Let's Play, where we this week are doing Overlight, a property from Renegade Games, which has been out for a couple of years now. I actually picked up my copy at Gen Con, which is how I got these buttons. Uh,
Nice.
hey, look, for a while there, postal for Kickstarters and picking and getting them was kind of a pain in the neck, because you pay for your Kickstarter and then you get the bill for your needing to have them shipped. So picking up the books at Gen Con was wonderful. I didn't have to pay shipping, and they had nice little swag for me, so that really made me happy. So that said, when last we left off our intrepid group of heroes, we have a group of players here today. So I'm just going to go through that really quick. We have Danielle, Corey, and Greg, and they are playing a group of goodness, it is the Skyborn Order, that's this top pin, who are individuals who have strange powers caused by the shatter of this world. And they have been dispatched to a continent that floats in the air known as Quill, where they are investigating the kidnapping and disappearances of different people who have ended up working for a cult known as the Nova Pendra Birthriders, working for them against their will. So, when last we left our players, there was the question of getting into these ruins.
Yes.
We have 2 guards now, 2 new guards. So, what would you like to do?
Did any of the armor from the ones that we just took out, or any of the robes, look like they're going to fit me and
Yeah.
maybe Phalis?
Yeah, absolutely. Phalis, you could probably get away with the armor from the trophy hunter.
Oh, okay. I can do
And
that.
then the other 2, yeah, you have their clothing. There is going to be the question of how to get in your friend.
Well, I mean, they're expecting captives.
True.
I'm sorry, Cola, but we could give them a captive.
It is a single captive.
The jungle, it
Or-
exists.
Yeah,
We're going to do the Chewbacca, aren't we?
I think so.
We're fine here. We're all fine here. How are you? I like it. Let's go with that then.
Alright.
So, you all don the clothing of these members of this cult that you had just taken out, and leaving them behind, make your way back towards this entrance of this ruin. An ancient stone ruin, perhaps dating back to even before the continents were shattered. You don't know. But it's been here a while. But you come through the forest and you exit out, and at first the guards are like, they take a bit of a moment to really digest the idea that here comes this group through the jungle. Now they are aware that a group is supposed to be coming, but they kind of grip their their weaponry a little bit tighter. But then they see in the light of their torches that you're wearing outfits similar to them, but they still stop you. And one of them's, "Halt." And he looks down at your captive. "What is this?"
Random straggler we picked up. Benyari? Is that the name of the race? Little Benyari.
Yari.
Little Benyari. Not worth much, but they could be useful. Multiple limbs.
"What happened to the rest of them?"
Let's just leave it at Grey Malkins.
Alright, I'm gonna need you to try and convince them with that.
Well done.
So how about either persuasion or performance?
Performance. And
Alright.
then, what do you want as? Virtue would be will?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Good news is
Wish
they
me
got
luck.
no successes, but how do you do?
Still have the die was cocked.
We do.
Uh, Technically, I have a brilliant because I rolled a 4 on my d4 plus 3 die successes. So,
Nice. Well, that should be so 3 successes plus the 1 should put you at radiant for 4 successes.
yes.
All right. They're like, oh, god damn it. I thought, well, we did drive them all away from here, so I guess that's where they went. Well, the Overlord will not be pleased, but at least it's something. Perhaps they can have a snack. And they motion you into the ruins.
Here's
Move
where
in.
this is going to be fun. Because I have no more plans after this until I see what more doing.
This is where we survey the land on the inside.
Yes. So, yeah,
Okay.
obviously, moving in. I'm not going to be rough with Cola. And if I am accidentally, I'm going to apologize profusely once we're in a safer spot.
I'm currently scowling, growling, which looks adorable. But
You're a hamster wrapped up in a Marimo ball.
You enter the ruins, and it's interesting because you're catching the sounds of wind in here. You're not certain if it's the circular design of the place or if it is just, something else within. But there is a sound of strong wind, and you even feel it ever so often breezing around and through you.
Is
How would you like to?
there
Oh, sorry about that. Yes.
just overseen? We've walked in. Is you said it's circular. Is it like a pit? Like a mining pit?
Think of it as more like a spiral, like you're entering into a great and ancient shell of some sort of creature, but this is made out of stone. And you're working your way through. Every so often there are paths that crisscross, stairways that looks like crumbled rubble is now covering, but you get the feeling that they have been clearing this path leading further and further in. Go ahead and give me a little bit of anybody can do this. Let's go with. I will let you either choose Beastways or Survival.
With what accompanying?
Uh, the virtue thereof, but I'm gonna say logic. Otherwise,
I'm gonna hit Beastways. I think that's for me. That makes more sense with my character, the wilderness and different things.
I'm going with survival.
Spirit die. That's 4. Okay. So 3 and a 4 on the spirit.
3 and 4. All right.
So, just a 1 success for me, so I don't
And Kyla?
know anything.
Sorry, for Danielle?
nothing.
Nothing?
No
Okay.
successes. Oh, except for my spirit die. That's really good.
The training and ability that you have within you, I'm going to say for Phaelus, as you're making your way in here, the grade that you're picking up on is that, yes, this is spiraling, but at the same time, it is descending. Just ever so slight, to an extent that maybe no one would realize it, but of course, you are fully enclosed, and these are large. It's a large spiral within this ruin as you're moving. But ever so often, you pass remains, perhaps workers, perhaps something else.
Do I get the sense that the centipede folk, I forgot their name,
Novapendra.
Novapendra, is are they familiar? Are they, from what little knowledge I would have, are they known for living deep down, like we're uncovering an old temple, or possibly one of their like fiendish overlords?
It's really hard to say because this is not their world is a their continent is a desert with very little light. Now
Okay.
that shines true. Is that where they're from? There's very little light.
Okay.
They live in one of the lowest continents, where obviously harsh environment, hard to survive, at least for anyone else. And their society has grown up in this over thousands of years.
Okay.
But the fact that they believe themselves, uh, kind of that higher life form, at the same time, it could be that they are here to reclaim that birthright. Right?
Okay. Interesting.
Not saying that this temple or this building was once theirs, but when you think yourself that great, I guess.
It's yours.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
You are walking for minutes. You have time to discuss amongst yourselves, but at the same time, it is overpowering the sense of being here. Is there anything anyone's going to do?
Look for slave pins, first off, or the laborers where they're being held. Keep an eye out for that, and just get for me, just get a custom idea of how many are they, what is our guard count. Not an actual count, but just a brief summary of like, there's a bunch of dudes over there, there's a bunch of workers over here. Generalized numbers.
Okay. For that, I'll ask for a survival roll. What about for Danielle? Is there anything that you are going to be doing?
Just try to look around, just see what might be there as well. Just
Okay.
I
So that'll be perception for that. I would also let folklore apply.
don't have that.
Okay. And then for Corey, for friend, what are you going to be doing during this time period? I mean, oh, you're muted. Sorry.
I am muted because I turned off my AC and I didn't want that beep over the thing. Uh, I'm looking for doorways that are obviously used, and since I'm still wearing the robes, I can probably peek in without, arousing too much suspicion if it's the wrong door, hopefully.
Okay.
So,
All right. So we're going to go in reverse order. So there's no real role necessary for Corey for what you were doing. You look in on a few places and you get the feeling that the guards are well armed, but there aren't a whole lot of them. More than likely, they are just through food and force of arms, they are able to keep the people here. And so you're guessing there might be uh, up to 16 people here that are operating as guards of some sort throughout the ruins, based on just cots that you might see in little rooms off to the side. But at the same time, there's a part of you that's like, they probably have to stay together in groups so that they can't be overpowered. For Kola, let's go ahead and get your roll done with that perception.
I had 2 successes.
You are walking through these ruins, and the heavy decorations that are on the wall within the stone, you look over at them ever so often, and you realize they tell a story. That this embossed kind of engraving into the walls tells a story, and one thing that you see over and over again is a single, like, rock or stone or something circular. And all the people are always different shapes of people, different races represented, are all observing it, bowing to it, treating it with reverence. And you see the tale of this ruin being built within this tale as you're going further and further along. And so I'm going to say that is what you're picking up as you're walking through. And then finally, for Phaelus, you haven't seen any pens yet, any holdings for any of their workers. But as you're making it to what you, based on your role earlier, feel is like nearing that center of that spiral that you're in as this building kind of descends further and further along, there's a large opening up ahead in this corridor, a very emblazoned kind of archway that you're going to have to walk through. And this, as you've been walking through the spiral, the sounds of the wind, the sounds of work has been increasing the closer and further along you get. And you know that whatever is happening is up ahead. What are y'all just going to walk in? What are y'all going to do?
Should we get another disguise for Cola?
I would say, why not? I will make it two different things. I will say either you can survival to find something, or I will let you, from the various rooms and things that you've come across, craft one. So either find or craft. That's going to be the question.
I mean, Bryn has a background of being a little sticky-fingered when she wants to be.
I think that's awesome.
So, she's probably picked up stuff here and there, like, that could be useful.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get a test on that then.
Alright.
If I will say
Did you
though,
actually
character agency for Cola. What are you doing? How do you feel about this?
Thus far, everything we've come across doesn't look like it's going to hover right.
I do have a question for Cole. Can you look approximately Harkeen height? Like, even if you're short for Harkeen? Aren't you a little short for Harkeen?
Lore-wise, I will put this out there, and this is again up to your agency, Cola. You can construct a bodysuit from your tree. Essentially, have the roots be legs and arms.
Okay, that's cool.
That's awesome.
It's a neat little thing. You're essentially a mech pilot in a tree.
I want to try that first.
Okay.
Would that be craft still?
Well, the craft is going to be getting the pieces onto that body to say that you can pass as a guard. So that will be the check. Either craft again, or finding a robe of some sort that you could put on that would just cover you entirely.
Dang it. Well, if I can shape myself differently, then I would just try to find something.
All right. So I could also say perception. So
Survival better.
all right.
I'm all about the survival. And that is 1. Just 1.
If you want to use that's cocked, I say if we can use that still.
Yeah.
Give it a
Yeah.
shot.
You want me to
Yeah, reroll that.
do we
This way we're
reroll
not
the
like
whole thing, or
feeding you.
Up to
Or
you.
just one die?
Yeah, you can re-roll all of it if you like.
Okay. That's got to be better. Okay, 2 that time.
Cool.
All right.
A little better.
All right. Yeah,
Oh,
you.
and a 4. Or
Nice.
the third die.
Ooh, okay. So that was, you said 2 with a 4?
Yeah.
All right, so you get
Forgot
an
what.
extra point for your spirit pool.
Okay. Yay.
All right. You managed to find a hooded robe, and you can wear it and uh, tie it off with a little bit of rope, and using your roots to expand out the pieces a little bit, make it to seem that there is a body, a humanoid body under it. And just, yeah, try not to draw too much attention, fly casual.
This will be fun. This isn't gonna bite us in the butt at all.
It's fine. It's fine. We didn't fail it.
Oh
So,
Mix between the Star Wars and the Princess Bride with the wheelbarrow. Oh my god.
no! Oh my god! Oh,
It does give us more mobility to move around versus like, "Hey, we have a prisoner, we gotta take it to the dungeon or whatever." So I think it's a good option.
okay.
So
You
I do make mention while we're going there that something significant could be wherever this crowd is. I mentioned the rock.
That's probably what they're trying to dig up then.
And the archway we're about to enter, that seems we're going into the main gate.
you exit this tunnel through that archway, and it's that sound that really catches your ear with the sound of the wind, along with the sound of people working, the smell of torches that have been burning underground for a while, that smell of that captured suit. SOOT, as it were. Uh, and you look out into a chamber that is immense. It descends away from you. We're going to say, think as wide as these ruins have been, hundreds of yards wide, hundreds of feet deep. And as I described the hanging prison of Hark, where it was these pieces of land masses with, ropes and walkways and netting out between all of them, that's what's here. It's netting and walkways, and you see people excavating in different areas, clearing away the debris, moving large rocks, dragging them out. Groups of guards in little, areas that are cordoned off with walls. So it looks like that the guards all have bows and arrows, and are able to hold these positions. And ever so often, you see guards walking along with whips through these people being forced to work that had been captured. Uh, and it's this room has also that continue. It's open, and unlike the room that, this tunnel that you came through that was in a spiral, you see the spiral repeated, but it is open now. These pathways and this spiral continuing to descend, except where, you were going from an outside edge going in towards the middle. Now you're at the middle going towards the outside edge. And you see at the very bottom of this large room where people are working is another chamber, another archway out across this expanse, and you see a great deal of light coming from it.
That looks like the main entry. I don't know how you two feel. It just should we find like the overseer or the contract boss?
That might not be the best idea. He'd make us for what we are just immediately.
Yeah.
But
Really
we'd
up to
certainly
you.
avoid his group. While we're looking out at this pit, is there any particular group that looks of the guards and like not captives that look particularly important? Like we should avoid running into that group at all costs at the moment?
You're not. Well, actually, I'll take that back. Go ahead and give me a perception check. And if all of you wish to make that check based on on a specific thing you're looking for, let me know.
Which virtue do you want me to use?
We're gonna say logic.
I get to roll all of my d10.
Ooh.
See, this is what you brought me along for. I am the information gatherer. Now, I say that and watch I roll, like, horribly.
It's
You
such a
think we
hard
fight.
game. I think the only game I will say where the dice mechanic is any harder is Tales from the Loop.
In
Yeah, that
Boston,
one's
and all
weird.
the pretty much anything that has a D6 pool where a pool where you only have to get the top roll.
Holy shit. I take that back, what I just said. 4 on the spirit die,
Nice.
an 8, a 9, a 7, a 10, and then a 6.
So,
So
how many
that's-
So
successes total?
everything's successful.
That's 5 dice pool successes plus a 4 in the spirit dice, which would bring it up to a brilliant success.
Congratulations on a brilliant success. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
The rest of us don't really need to look.
So, I'm going to pull in a little bit of a roleplay element into this. At the same time, did you roll that 4 on your spirit dice too?
I did roll a 4 on the spirit dice. That's
So-
what brings it up to the brilliant.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So, I'm going to read out the rules of a legendary success. So that, audience and everybody knows. This should be a character-defining moment of heroic and mythic proportions. Folk who are there to witness this event will tell stories of it for years to come. The player and the GM should work together to describe an outcome that is special, dramatic, and a bit over the top.
Ooh.
So, I'm going to say, within this world, for your character, and especially with your background, you've done time before. And you know what it's like in these camps. You know what you're looking for. It's kind of like there's always the same tale. There's always that unified theme, no matter what kind of prison it is. And you're able to say, and I'm going to say, you're able to look around and you're like, okay, he's a boss. He's a boss. Those guys don't even really want to be here. I bet that guy's writing a letter to his loved ones, and is probably having second thoughts about being here in the first place. I'm guessing you start picking out things like you pick out. Okay, there's the slave pens. So that is where all the enemies are. That's where they're forcing people to slave. And you see about 10 people inside of it currently. Roundabout, there are 15 guards on patrol or in the various areas. There are about 50 people in here. Grand total. So 40 people working currently, 10 people in the pens. On top of all of this, there is now also, I'm going to say, for your character, you're picking out blind spots. You're like, ooh, the shadows are kind of deep in there. If you did things right, you could probably take out one of the guys on patrol as they're going by. That location, that entire walkway right there, nobody can see it. Like, nobody, if you, in this certain situation, nobody, as long as you were standing on it, nobody would know you were there. And so that's going to be my contribution towards your legendary success. What about you? What would you like to see in this moment?
Ooh, you gave me something.
There's a lot to work with.
About. Oh yeah, I mean, you gave me a lot of what I was looking for to begin with. You said that the ratio of captives to guards is pretty decent. Like, there's only 15 guards present.
15
and
total
50
here.
to 50 people. That's I can work with that. Um, Lots of little hidey holes, which I'm fully planning on taking advantage of. Um, hmm.
Yeah, essentially, I guess it'd be like 3 to 4 prisoners per guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one that was writing a letter to his sweetheart and having second thoughts. Can I can I twist this little
Oh
thing
yeah,
to say that
absolutely. Let's have fun with it.
that he's one of the guards that was guarding during my time in the Hark prisons? Like, I actually
Yes.
kind of know it. I want to go with that. And is he off by himself?
I will say for that legendary success and everything else, yes, he is.
All right.
Now, while she's doing this, I do want to make sure that everybody else is contributing, if you wish, or having something to do with it. Uh, so, Danielle, did you have anything that you think would also build towards that legendary success, or anything that you yourself might want to do? If you need a moment, I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
Essentially, I'm going to ask Greg the same thing. So, Greg, do you have anything you can think of?
It all depends on what friend tells us and says, here's what we're gonna do. You know, like for me, that's where it all stands on. But if she says something like, if we can release the prisoners, we can let loose a riot. I'm scouting. I can do that. That's what I was born to do. So if we need someone to sneak down there and start bashing open pins or using machinery to unlock them, I'm totally all about. I volunteer for that job. Um, if it's a matter of like as we go down further to get there, if people need picking off from a distance, I can use telemetry to do that. I'm love all those ideas.
Okay.
Go ahead, Paula.
I think I would be, uh, since you were evaluating the guards, I think I want to evaluate prisoners, see if there's any of them that look less beaten down, more likely to possibly rally with us, just to know where some support might come from.
All right. Well, uh, I'm going to say that you have a suspicion that just below the pens is an area, a group of about, I'm going to say 8 workers. And they are all working on a tunnel together, clearing it. They're strong. They seem to have a look to them that's in their eyes that they are not broken yet. And you're like, they must be keeping them there as far down so that, easier for everybody to keep an eye on them, harder for them to break out. And so that's it's going to be beyond the pens, essentially, is where this group is being kept. And they're all having to work.
So, here's an idea for y'all, friends. That guard that's writing the letter, I might be able to get him to reconsider briefly. Can't guarantee it. He was a guard when I was serving time, but that might be enough of a familiar face to do something for me. If I can get his attention, I can get some information from him. And then we might be able to start a riot depending on what I hear from him.
Okay.
Or if I don't have enough information, we can at least get enough information or key off of him to start ferrying people away. So, Bayless, if you want to keep Cola's back, keep her between us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's make our way like we know what we're doing.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to say one person out front. And a lot of this is going to rely on them for either a performance, or if you can come up with something else that along the ways to where you don't want to be stopped, and to are you, so you're trying to reach him first, correct?
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with a
Friends.
performance would work. If y'all have another idea for how you would get to him, one test for somebody to lead you there. So
My only
between
other, my only other thought is someone intimidates, so that
Oh
nobody
my.
wants to get in your way.
So I would say I don't mind taking the lead because this is my brilliant
Cool.
idea. Let me
Awesome.
um, take the lead on that one. Um, I don't mind if the former prison guard notices me because I'm just uncovered enough that he might recognize me. And I'm going to definitely use performance just to say, like, hey, I'm here. I know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be here. And it's going to be very much if he catches her, or if he notices her, it's going to be very much an expression of, hey, fancy seeing you here. Let's catch up. Sort of smiles and, like, hey, friendly face.
all right, let's go for it.
So that's going to be performance with. Uh, would it be will, or would it be?
Depending
You
on
call
what your
it.
outcome is, if you're just trying to interact with him, will would work. But if you're trying to get him to maybe side with you, that'd be compassion.
I'm gonna go ahead and pray that the dice like me. I'm going to go with compassion because that is the end goal. Is like, hey, I can get you out of here if you help me, sort of scenario.
All right.
But yeah,
And just tell me how many successes you get, because this is a roll off with them. Basically, what this game considers an open test. Okay.
successes.
Did you get anything on Spirit Die for that?
It was just a 2, so
Okay.
yeah. Like, hmm.
Uh, at first they're just talking with you, and it's like they hear your voice, and that's the moment they start to realize, wait, I know this person, and it's like you found that that missing area in his armor, that one weak point. And it's like you get that knife in there and you twist, and he is it's like you guided the conversation, because you did get that radiant success. You guide the conversation to where it's like he reveals he has doubts, and it's as if he didn't have anything to believe in anymore. And this was an opportunity to believe in something bigger than himself. An opportunity to feel like he had a purpose. How would you like to play off of that?
Former guard. I'm going to go with like that whole like, hey, you vowed to protect the city of Heart, protect and serve. This isn't the way to do that. They're not like this. We don't deserve this. They're not going to be the best overlords for the shard, the whatever the fractures are called, the different tiers.
What do we do?
Well, if we can get weapons into some of the workers down there, there's not a whole lot of them to a whole lot of, not a whole lot of the guards to a whole lot of those workers. I'm gonna need your help for that. I just arrived here.
We don't have a lot of weapons, but we take their tools away from them every time they come off of work. And a lot of them don't get tools at all. They have to use their hands to remove the stones.
How many tools do you have in your
We have more than enough because they the chances of them breaking is always great. So we always have replacements.
All right. What's down in that pit? Do we need to worry about that just yet?
He kind of shudders. That's where the Overlord is.
I'm guessing the Overlord is one of the Nova. What's it?
The Nova Vendra. Yeah.
Nova Vendra.
They haven't come out yet to be fed.
How long do we have until then?
Maybe an hour.
All right. This is going to be fun.
What?
Are you-
Yeah. He'll provide the information. He's like, they stay in there all the time. It's some sort of ancient library.
Well, that can't be good. Some sort of stone down there, I'm guessing. Too.
Yeah. There's a dais at the bottom of the chamber. It's a multi-level library, and at the very center of it, the bottom is a dais, and there's a glowing stone on it.
You should really pay more attention to the spiral as you're coming in.
Yeah.
So, all right. We have an hour before he comes up. He usually eats, I'm guessing, one of these so-called volunteers? Or does he take an actual volunteer from one of the cultists?
He'll take volunteers, and then he will also occasionally take a guard if they have not pleased him.
Alright. So we have an hour. We want to do this before he feeds. Alright.
All right, so how do you want to do this?
What's a good way to raise a distraction and get weapons into their hands?
Well, he says, I can go and open up the shed. And that way, all they have to do is get there to get the tools. That's anything else. Just walking around and carrying them is going to be really noticeable.
So what we could do, if there's enough. I know someone mentioned there's the bulky ones, the ones that are doing the hard time underneath. If it's possible to grab a couple of them, or even any of the other laborers, grab them. We're guards, right? We can tell them what to do. We'll tell them to come with us and grab more tools, and then distribute them accordingly.
If somebody wants that
Just an
tunnel cleared a
idea.
little faster. I'm guessing the tunnel that we spotted earlier does not lead to the library pit in the center.
Okay, so you exited the tunnel, and it goes out into a pathway that spirals down further and further. Fully open air. Any structures in here have been built, more than likely by the guards. At the bottom of this pit is a tunnel that goes off, and that is where the light is coming from. That is more. He has pointed that out as that is where the Nova Pendra is, and where the library is.
Okay. Yeah, but you also mentioned earlier that there were a group of workers, like near the slave pens,
Yes.
working on a tunnel. Was that
Yes.
the tunnel to the library? Okay.
No, this is going to be a separate tunnel that has not been fully cleared yet.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to use that to my advantage. Let's say somebody wants that tunnel a little clearer, and if they ask who wants that tunnel clearer, it's going to be me because I don't want to risk your life very much. You know me. I served time under you.
All right, so that's going to be, friend. That's going to be what your goal is here. Kola, is there anything that you're going to be doing with all this?
I can start making my way over toward that group to try to. Is there a guard or anything near them?
There are 2 guards near the group of 8. The ones that seem to be strong.
I'm going to call
Is
the
it
guard David for a moment.
Okay.
Hey, David. Uh, Give me a name that I can use that, hey, so-and-so wants this done faster. Who would that be?
Uh,
That tunnel down there.
he looks around and he's like, well, there's the he looks over at over at Phaelus, and he looks at your armor. He's like, well, there's someone that wears armor like that whose name is Nuke, and he nobody doubts what he says.
Alright. Newt. Looking over to Phaelus.
Yep.
If
I
we
knew a
don't-
guy that I got this from.
Alright, so here's an idea. Nuke and I go down to those guards. David and Kola, if you're okay with splitting off just briefly, go get the weapon shed, or the tool shed open. We'll grab a couple of the workers, grab the weapons, distribute them, say that we want to get the tunnel open faster, and then once everybody's got a tool in their hand, I reveal myself and cause a riot.
Get that
Okay.
shed open, I can start trying to open pens.
All right. So let's go with goals that are taking place. So, friend, you're going to try to rescue the 8 strong ones, essentially, get them to start this ride up. David's going to go get the tool shed opened. Cola, you're going to go and try and open the slave pens, or what are you trying to do?
Yeah, I think I'm going to open the pens, but just basically tell them all, wait.
Okay.
Just
And
I mean, if they see my face, they're going to know I'm not one of the guards.
Which
Yeah.
is why I'm sending you on that one. Or that's why I'm not arguing. Whatever the word I'm using there. Brain. I have one.
all right.
So-
And for Phaelus, what is your goal?
To help friend. If I stand off, look stoic, what I do best, and yell at people if I need to. It'd basically be Nuke, and this is what I want. Get them moving.
Awesome. We're going to go with that then. So I'm going to start off because the first place that you're going to come to as you move through as a group and where they're going to have to break off from. So, Cola, you arrive at the pens first before the rest of the group gets down further. You need to go ahead and I'm going to say, do you want to talk to the people in the pens first before you start breaking them out, or what do you want to do?
Not really waiting on a huge discussion, more revealing my face enough to catch their eye, and just straight out saying, I kind of point at the lock and just wait.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get a convince form of roll in there. So, how about persuasion?
Also, if
Nope.
All right. Do you have anything else that could possibly work in that? I mean, is there a skill that you do have that you can see a way of it applying in the situation?
inspiration, maybe. Let's see.
Don't
I'm
have
gonna
that
say-
either.
Oh, you don't have that?
I don't have performance, I don't have inspiration, I don't have persuasion. I'm not the talker. I'm a little bundle of wrath.
Well, you can always. Do you want to look at them as a little bundle of wrath and tell them, "Don't you frickin' move"? And
Don't move till we tell you.
and if you do that, that would be. I would say you're trying to look tougher, so brawl, and then will. Would that work?
That's a little better.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. The more I play with this system, the more I'm like, oh, I know ways I could use this in fun ways.
Yeah.
I know.
I like systems where I like word systems where it's just use the word. What do you want to do? And
Um,
don't linchpin people into having to use a skill a certain way.
yeah.
Okay, that is one success on the regular and one success on the spirit.
Nice. So that
Well,
puts you up at the that'll put you up at the luminous success. So that is considered a success. And they look at you and they don't even understand what's going on. They're tired. They're like, oh yeah, okay. And they move away from the door.
It works.
We'll go with it.
All right, friend, you arrive down at you and Phelis arrive down at this group who are, lifting the rocks up and moving them out of the way almost barehanded. There's maybe one person there that has like a steel shaft that they're using to wedge in there and break the stone apart ever so often. And two guards are nearby who are heavily armed. What are you
I'm
going to
gonna
say?
stand back.
Okay.
I'm gonna address the guards first before I address the workers. It's like, hey, gonna point out, Nuke wants this tunnel cleared a little faster. Let he and I take over for a moment. We can get these workers motivated a little more.
All right, let's convince them this time. So that is going to be either persuasion or performance,
Performance.
and
Is
going will over that.
Let's see if my lucky streak continues. Be prepared to rescue me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm being ready. Trying to see if there's a maneuver that lets you help someone.
And this is an
Okay.
open test, so tell me what your full successes are.
3.
All right, I rolled 3 as well, but I am a DM who believes in that it goes to the players every time on ties. So
If she notices like a little hesitation, she's just gonna square her shoulders and
they look past you and see the individual in the armor, and it's that little push, that little of, yeah, let's go get a drink, and they walk away. All right, so addressing the workers.
I'll make my way down there now. Stand next to her.
you boys look like you need some better tools. Those bare hands aren't gonna cut it, and we want this open fast. And she's going to use all of her feminine charms at this point. If she needs to. Like,
You sure
even if
you
it's
want
just
to
to
give
kind
us any tools? We might use them on you.
well, you don't want to use them on me, but a couple of the others you might want to. And just winks.
And I'll shake my head like the big dumb oaf. Uh-huh, yes.
What the hell's going on here? One of them leans in.
Like I'm flirting. The Skyborns.
Well, shit. All right.
Just play it cool.
Lead the
Get
way.
your tools. Alright. Nuke. Let's give them their
Yes.
tools.
Yes, I remember where that is. And I'll shovel off leading them.
All right. You lead them to the shed, and David is there. And the moment he sees them, he kind of steps inside the door, up against the corner. He's like, I don't want them really coming after me.
That's fair.
And most of them grab, pickaxe or something that looks large and heavy. Some of them just grab more of these metal rods that they've been using, and grab an extra one. And they're like, all right, well, now what? We just gonna try and take them on this way?
Start making your way back towards the tunnel. I'm gonna see if I can get a few more workers in to help you. And at help, if she's not seen, or if she could like hide it, air quotes, for the help. Like,
Okay.
if I can get more over there, the better chances you have. Because right now, your odds are 2 to 1. I'd like to get you better odds.
All right. I rolled for the guards. None of them are, even with this group of people moving back, they're not, it's far enough down, and there are other people between them and these workers. They don't pay enough attention to realize that, hey, these guys have extra tools on them, or weapons, or things that could be used as weapons. Uh,
Especially considering I've got Phelus here disguising himself as
Yeah.
Ink.
Cola,
Looking
you're,
intimidating.
you are seeing all this happen. Are you going to begin working on the door, popping locks, or what are you going to be doing?
Yeah, I'm going to start popping locks, and if I catch anyone's eye, I kind of make them look that direction. Just see if they get the hint.
I will refrain from dancing with the popping and locking. So, uh,
Also, if Cola needs it, Friend does have a set of lockpicks on her, so if Cola needs it, she would have passed those on ahead of time. I'm not sure if that's going to make a difference, but
I feel like I would be better at just breaking it with.
Well, what skill would you be using?
Yeah, I don't think I'm super subtle when it comes to that type of thing. I think I literally would be wrapping branches, tentacles, the vines around it, and just breaking.
Okay. I'm gonna say if you want to use this as a tool, the lockpicks, just for fun, and bash whatever the locks are with lockpicks in your brawny way, I will let you increase your dice size by 1 step.
Okay.
it's
So I
possible
mean,
Brute
are you going to?
bad
You're
luck.
you're trying to break it open, so that would be a brawl. And I'm saying turn. So what is your brawl dice at?
My brawl is a D8.
So I'm saying you could use a D10,
Ooh. Okay.
but the lock picks will be ruined.
I'm okay. They're
Worth
cheap
it.
enough.
Worth it. Worth it.
Worth it, 100%.
I'm not exactly trained in using lockpicks. I mean, they're not my thing. So, but if you hand
IRL.
anyone lockpicks, you're just gonna keep shoving them down.
I think that's brilliant.
It is brilliant. And to be honest, IRL, I have watched enough lockpicking lawyer to know that sometimes brute force is all you really need. You don't need a whole lot of finesse.
Yeah, I watched some of those. It's like, yeah, you just gotta turn it just right,
Yeah.
just real quick.
Just get that shim in the right place and go pop.
Okay, so might is D8, brawl is now D10.
Totally worth it. I can get new lockpicks. I'm not worried. I am going to cross that off on my character sheet, though, that I don't look at
That
those.
is 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
Nice.
You just kind of chop into the lock right there at the top where the pins go in, and you just and just almost shivving the lock, and it pops off.
And they were all 7s too. Lucky
Nice, feeling lucky.
seven.
All right.
It works.
So you have the people that were in the pens who are well rested at this point. Do you want to send them to go to get the tools, or do y'all want to find more people?
I think getting the tools and kind of sending those that look like they wouldn't be able to use them quite to their full ability off to gather more people for us. Just kind of in like one, yeah, kind of like in ones or twos, and then as subtly as we can get,
We do have a little time, yeah.
yeah. We have a little time, but we don't have that much.
That's
So, all right, like as virally fast as possible, getting them tooled
All
up.
right. Well, it's at this point that you've got more people out. The people out of the pens, the guards above are now paying attention. And we're going to say that crap is going to hit the fan. This is the moment the riot takes place.
Okay.
because we are getting on in time at the same time, and I want to get us into our final scenes. But I will allow everybody here, as this riot kicks off, what are you going to be doing to set this all up?
If I may, if it gets to that point of one of those like time's ticking, we gotta act quickly. If we're walking by a group of guards, just toss them into the pit.
All right.
We need a signal? Here you go.
Brawl and
There we
might
go.
it.
I like.
That it is.
I love it.
I like it.
There's 1, 2. There is 3 and a 4 on my spirit die.
There you go. Okay. You you kind of are passing this group of guards on one of these walkways as they go to check on one of the groups of, you know, kind of the workers that were imprisoned here. And as you walk past, you kind of like this bump one of them with your hip, and he kind of falls off, and you grab another one and just toss him to the air. The one that you just bump, he falls to the ground. But the one that you toss, it's like he gets caught in some sort of vortex, goes up into the air, slams into the roof of this room as if caught by some sort of wind, and spins around and falls.
Oh.
I forgot about that wind. If I notice that, can I see, like, based on, like, angles and trajectory, where that source might be?
Absolutely. Actually, everybody go ahead and make a wind lore check now that you're aware of it.
And what virtue?
So it's going to be wind lore and logic or wisdom. Probably logic.
Thank God for logic, because I don't have wind lore, so this is all I get to roll for that one.
Yeah, I don't have wind lore either. Just the one die.
I got 2.
All right.
I managed to get 2 too.
Phalis, you're now aware because there are vortexes in the room. That's what the sound of this wind is. It possibly at one time was meant as an easy method to move about the room. If you're not aware of them, they would be very dangerous. And more than likely, the way that this has all been set up, as far as the walkways and ramps, was to ensure that they didn't move through those.
Excellent.
So,
And I'll share that knowledge.
yeah,
Yep.
And
the
stick to the path.
riot kicks off. The workers are engaged with the different warriors. Up near the top are groups firing down with arrows, and they do strike several of the prisoners. But it is just mass chaos, though, and they're sorting out weapons. People are passing out stuff. Guards that are being taken down are being, their equipment is being taken away. Make a quick roll here. Yep, you see one of the workers grabs one of the stakes, one of these large metal stakes, and uses that as a spear. And it flies through the air and just collides with one of the guards, impaling him to the wall.
Nice.
Yeah, at this point, I've probably, like, at least told Cola and Phalis at least to ditch the helmet so they can see his face. Because the armor is probably going to be coming in handy soon. And Cola and I should discard our robes. And probably David, if he, like, thinks ahead of that. Like, or if I got the chance to tell him, like, hey, when this starts, ditch your robes. Maybe, help them fight. He went out.
I'm going to say that David does discard the ropes and fights alongside them. I will give everybody in this scene, make a roll based on how you wish to contribute to this riot, and then we're going to be moving on. I'm going to start. Greg, I haven't really started with you much tonight, so let's go ahead and get you a roll in there. How are you going to contribute?
Probably the same way. Just clearing the path again, I don't want to use my blades. It's more of a just tossing people. Now that we know the vortex is there, Might and Windlore like to screw that guy, get him out of the way.
All right,
Very,
let's go for it. Yeah.
very big. All right, so d8s, d10s, and a d4. Odds are good, hopefully. I have one success.
All right. What about on spirit die?
I got a 3.
All right. In the wonderful world of certain sports out there, there's this thing known as a scrum. And it's where everybody pushes together from two different directions, and it's just pushing back and forth, trying to shine each other and outstrength each other. And you're not gaining any ground. We're going to use that as the term for the moment.
Okay.
But moving on, though, how about Cola? What are you going to be doing in this fight?
After watching all the wind happening, once I pushed off ledges, I would basically be trying to trip as many of them as possible into the
Okay.
off the pathways.
So brawl,
push or trip.
yeah, brawl definitely, and then however you'd like to work with that, either I could say might or vigor because of your size, or if you're trying to catch them off guard at a certain moment to do it, logic.
I'm going to just full out force. It's my thing. And that is 2 successes.
All right. It's tough, but you do manage to knock some of the guards off of the walkways, and people are making their way past you further up.
Sweet.
Alright.
All right, so now on to Corey for Friend.
If it's possible, I'm avoiding danger as much as I can and just shouting out little clumps of guards that can be broken and tossed into these vortices, or trouble spots where some of the workers might need just like 1 or 2 more people, and then they'd have that corner of their pocket. So would that be... Can I use logic and perception for that?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Playing to my strengths here. Ooh, here's my D4.
I tactician. I think that's great.
As long as I don't get smacked, I'm good.
I'd be a little more technical if I was out in the woods.
2, 3, 4. 4 successes on the die, and then a 4 on my spirit die.
Nice. All right, so that gives you another spirit point for your pool. Yeah, you're guiding them and helping them take level by level within this prison, avoiding areas where they're, trying to rain down the arrows, and you're helping them be a lot more successful than they would be. In fact, you actually use a few of the spirals of these updrafts of air to cause the arrows to go askew. But while you're doing this, you also see, looking down, you look into the tunnel and you see the Nova Pendra. It looks up at your group and what is happening there, and if a chitinous face could be panicked, it has that look, and it rushes back into the room where it was.
Alright, I think that's my cue. Koa, Phalis to me. Let's get this monster down.
Start jumping down on different levels, getting down there as quick as possible to her.
All right, you make your way finally to the bottom. Is everybody going to go?
I think at this point we've taken out enough guards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If they look like I have a handle, then yeah, I'm definitely going to give my peace of mind to this thing.
All right. You break into this room through this archway, and it is extremely well lit in here. And it has this appearance of walls, circular walls, probably about 40 feet wide. And it's just a giant cylinder. of walls of books and book casing. You do not necessarily see right this moment the Novapendra. All you see is this single, endless circular bookshelf. But at the bottom of this, you see a platform, stone platform, raised dais, and clutched in what appears to be a hand is a glowing green gem. And I don't mean glowing like, anything less than luminous. Does anyone here, what is your character's main virtue? Does anyone here have compassion as their core virtue?
That's mine.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh, sorry, core virtue. That's not strongest virtue. No, mine's might. Sorry.
Mine is logic.
Mine is vigor.
Then you don't feel anything greater. If one of you had that, you would have felt it pulling at you. But you do feel something from it, as if that stone itself were Chroma.
Huh. That's interesting. Can I do... I don't know what the virtue would be for this, but can I make a folklore check with something to see, like, if this is something that Fern has heard of before? Give us a little more information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at this point, Chroma has always just been the essence around us, right? That's
Maybe.
physical. Well, as far as we were aware.
As far as you know, yes. Or
And
as
what
far as you
virtue-
know naturally.
Mm-hmm. What virtue do you want me to use for that? And how?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay.
Oh, there's a folklore skill.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have it.
Neither do I.
Basically, science is like the only thing I studied.
2 successes and a 4 on the spirit die. So.
All right. So you
back
got
up to my full
another
spirit
another spirit pool point, and you know that there were legends, ancient legends, that there are essences of Chroma out there. Something that came into being. You don't know the exact history of it, but you know that it is something that came into being when the world of Overlight came into being. And these were things that were once fought over, and people thought that they were worshipped. People thought they were weapons. But it is something obviously of great importance, and more than likely why the Novapendra is here.
We can't let this thing get it. That gem.
Absolutely. No one should handle the Lochnar.
You don't see him. It's as if he's not in this chamber at all.
Are we like on an outside wall? Or like on the floor?
Think of it as, so this room is a giant cylinder, and you're on the lip at the top of this cylinder. There are no floors other than the floor at the bottom. You would have to climb down these bookcases.
I'd look over the ledge if we don't see him. He's probably right there.
Nope, you do
Do
not
we-
see him.
Oh.
Do we know things about this race?
The Novapendra?
Yeah, like, is there powers known to the race like there are to each of ours?
So, they are obviously insect-like, from giant centipedes. They have an innate knowledge and sense of Chroma. Like they can sense it. They have a greater understanding of it than any other race.
Okay.
I'm
So,
just-
go ahead.
My logic is just wondering if we've ever heard about being able to blend in. Chameleon, invisibility, something.
Nothing that anyone innately knows about this race, no. I will take that back though. If you want to try and make a folklore check on that,
Would I be allowed to?
folklore survival would also definitely work in this case.
Survival I can do. Two successes.
2 successes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did anybody else want to make that check, or is it just you? Because I will say you do know it, and that is that the Novapenda are known for being poisonous. Like they have a poisonous bite.
I'm also gonna make just to see if I make any other connections. I only get 2 successes too, so I'd probably know about as much as Polo would do.
Oh, I don't have that
Yep.
chroma. Shoot.
I am. Can I use my chroma in a sort of unique way? Hopefully.
Hey, you
I'm-
know me as a GM. I am
Yeah.
story over mechanics every day. Give me an idea what you want to do.
I want to see if I can enhance my hearing enough to see if I can hear either exoskeleton moving against exoskeleton or feet on surface.
Let's go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
So D10 for compassion. And then logic is also a D10. Where are my D10? I have dice scattered all over my counter at this point. And then my spirit die. Now that I have 5, I'm not worried about going over my spirit pool.
Yep. Go ahead and give me your total on dice. How many successes you get?
Three, and it only cost me 1 chroma.
Nice.
All right. You do hear the brief kind of whisper of something moving behind the books on the bookcase.
Okay.
So it
I
is trying to
signal.
hide.
Be a signal. So the bookcases are flush against the wall, or are they kind of pulled in?
They
A
are
little bit.
they are essentially they are the wall. Like
Okay.
inset are shelves and the books are on those shelves.
Okay, so that means that there's probably a hidden.
Sorry, I was distracted there briefly.
So, what do the floors connecting to these bookcases look like? Does it look like there's a lip where there might be like secret passageways are possible?
Not really. So I mean, essentially, like I said, giant cylinder, 40 feet across, and cylinder that descends downwards. Bookcases that are inset like a recessed wall, that and you think that it is moving behind the books. In that there is no floor. The rest of the way down. It's about 4 stories down to the ground. At the very bottom, where you see the glowing stone.
Alright. It's behind the wall somewhere, and we have to get to that stone before it gets to it.
Well, it's behind the books, essentially.
Or behind the book.
When she says that, I'll immediately look down. Are there footprints or anything? Like centipede footprints on the dirt or the dust
me
or
survival.
anything? Okay. Logic and survival?
Yes.
Okay. D8s all around. Because that can kick off my chroma. I thought I had a different one, but
Okay.
7, 7, 2. That's on the side. I got 4 and a 1 on the spirit die.
Nice. Okay, so that gives you another point towards your spirit pool. And with the 4 successes, you do see tracks where he has disturbed either the wood paneling, because he is heavy, and a few of the books that are a little bit out of place, like probably picked them up in his over 100 arms, and as soon as he was on the bookshelf, replaced them as well as they could. But
Oh, clever.
yeah,
I have Track the Spirit, which is a chroma. You can see through the eyes of your quarry. It's on page 236 if you need to look it up. I would like to activate that if possible,
absolutely.
so I can kind of see from his point of views. So once you say that, friend, I'll be like, give me a second. That's oh, that's not looking good. I got a 2. I got a 7 and an 8. The rest were all 1s, and I got a 1 on the spirit die.
All right, well, that still kicks off the power, and if you're seeing through their senses, they're trying to be very quiet and moving, trying to keep out of sight of you for the moment.
Okay.
They are being stealthy.
So they're kind of like shadowed.
Yeah,
Shadowed behind books.
Mm-hmm. You do have, based on what you're seeing through their eyes and through your own, you have a very good idea of where they are.
If I can take a second to orient myself, because I'm sure that's disorienting. Point in the direction, and if someone wants to throw something that way.
It's up to y'all. Cola, do you want to try and do anything, or a friend?
Oh, and that's 1 on the chroma die.
How close is that? Is he on the opposite side, or is he closer to us?
A little closer to you on one of the sides. So down below you, like maybe about 20, 30 feet away. But behind books.
Hey, Cola, do you have something heavy you could throw?
Well, I could pick up something heavy in here, but I don't really have anything heavy to throw that on me.
And this is purely hypothetical. Would you be able to throw me? Because friend's kind of average female, a little skinny.
I mean, I'd be essentially a tree picking you up and throwing you. I don't see it being...
Kind of awesome.
Tree beard throws.
You want me to launch you?
Let's do this. This is going to be fun. I am probably going to regret this immensely as a player, but it also sounds really fun to do. So
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's launch you at the books.
All right, so
I've got a
might and
D6
I would
Win
say
the war?
might and brawl, unless you've got an idea of something that might be a little bit better. If you want to try and go perception because you're trying to aim, it all depends on how you describe it to me.
But you do want me to actually hit a specific spot, right?
See if you can get me like as close to like upper mid body
Yeah.
as you can.
Although brawl is better for me, I think since you don't want me to just randomly throw you, I probably should be using perception to try to aim.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and. Do you want me to go ahead and roll an athletics figure to make sure I don't, knock my head as I launch forward?
I want Cola to go ahead and describe their action, and then we'll get whatever's going to happen from that.
Oh no. Oh no. I love the look on her.
What do you
Look on
roll?
your face. What did you do?
Just
What?
One
Just
success.
One success. So I'm basically picturing the branch arm reaches out, lifts you up, and just kind of attempt to football throw you.
Now we'll do an athletics check.
I mean, it's even better I try to bowl you, one or the other.
I can imagine you trying to bowl. Like, oh wait, hold on.
With one success, I bowled you. I don't think I managed to get you in the air.
Well, 3 successes on my die, so
There we go. All right.
Good
That's
recovery.
what makes you on the spirit.
Kola picks you up, but I guess just wasn't something y'all practiced before, and you go over the ledge. Not at all where where you were hoping to be aimed, but you do prevent falling all the way to the ground and grab a hold of one of the bookcases.
I'll take it. Give me a second, though.
Did the rest of us go down and try to get the stone? I guess we should be ready. Never mind. We'll be defensive.
Well, so that is both of you. You pointed them out with your power.
That was my
The
choice.
Nova Pendra is going to burst out of the shelves and start going for the stone, crawling down it rapidly.
As I'm holding on for dear life, can I throw a knife at him?
Okay, so they're going to be near the bottom. That's going to be the end of their action. Next round, they will be trying to get to the stone. You're going to try and throw a knife. Let's get actions from everybody. So, you're throwing a knife. What are you going to be doing, Phalis?
I don't know, man. If that's she's thrown a knife, and if she says stop him, then it's use myself and dive bomb off the top to try to get on top of him. Body splash again. I'm gonna reattempt it.
Okay, so body splash. Kola, what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to try to intercept and go for the Chroma Test because I can. It's not just a person I can grab. I can grab an object.
Okay, good.
Nice. Okay, let's go for it then. Starting off with friend. Throw that dagger. Dagger, dagger, dagger.
I'm assuming that's going to be a blades
Yep.
thing. Blades vigor or blades might?
I think, let me double check the description. Vigor is speed based as well. So, I'm gonna say, I actually would say vigor in this case.
Alright. Come on, luck. Three successes.
Nice. Spirit die?
Only a one.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Good if I was rolling chroma, but no.
The dagger strikes the creature, bearing into its chitinous body, and does 3 points of damage. Phalis, let's go ahead and get your attack in there.
Okay. I would like to do on top of like the jumping, running and jumping. I'd like to do aspects of the magma links to close that distance and basically make that attack.
Nice, let's do it.
Okay, so that's logic and vigor. It's all d8s. That is not my d8s. Sorry, all of
No
it.
worries.
Grab the 10s instead.
That's three
that's
so
what I
far.
usually do.
Nice.
3 and a 4 in the spirit, and then
Do you have
and a
enough
6,
spirit
7,
points to
three.
pay for it? That's going to be 4
I
on
have 5 left.
Okay, because that's 4 off that 5 then.
Yep. But I did get 5 successes plus the 4 on the spirit die.
All right. So that was how many successes total?
5 plus if the 4 on the spirit die counts.
Yes,
then
it does. So you just got yourself a legendary success.
I did.
All right. Wow. So
I don't know how to.
I can't even. I mean, because
So
basically, this was the test for the chroma, correct? Before the attack.
Yes. Yes. So it's a brilliant chroma. Become immune to damage of fire-based attacks. I'm not worried about that.
I'd say in a flash of orange, you suddenly were on the edge, and now you are on him. I am going to go ahead and say increase your dice size for the attack with your weapon by 1 step.
Awesome. So brawl, because I'm body splashing, or athletics, whatever you feel.
Brawl works.
brawl it is. We'll make that a D8.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's more of speed and falling and bracing for the impact, I think vigor over might.
Yeah.
Even though might's my bigger die, but I just logically I just think
Yeah.
that. So
Let's
handful
hear
of
that.
D.
Or if you want to say rather than a body splash, you were doing, a Hulk smash. You can change it over to the might. I don't care. I don't mind.
We'll do that. I appreciate you, GM.
I believe
mean-
in the story over everything.
Yeah, now to be fair, there's also one of my knives in his body somewhere for you to take advantage of too if you need it.
That's true. I can land on that. One. I got a 10, 9, and an 8. So 3 and a 1 on the spirit die.
All right, so grand total of 4 points damage on top of the 3 y'all already done. He is wounded heavily. He is a named villain, so he does get a lot more health.
Absolutely.
So, that said, though, that puts us with Koa. What are they doing?
I'm up on that ledge. I am using root, and I am reaching to intercept. I'm getting it first. And that is 4 successes, so a radiant success.
Nice.
Nice.
Which means my grip lasts until the end of the combat or siege.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is a strong and load bearing.
You reach out and you grab the stone and pull it up off the dais. And as you do, you hear the sounds of ancient stone and mechanical work take place.
Uh-oh.
The floor below at the very bottom falls away, like just instantaneously, just whoosh, and it opens up to space. You are looking out the bottom of the continent now, at the bottom of this chamber. A great wind rushes up from below, and we're going to need athletics checks for anyone that's on the side. So let's go ahead and do an athletics check for Phalis.
Yeah. What would you like? Might to hang on, or vigor to kind of get out of the way?
If your choice, however you want to describe it. If you want to get it off of him or out of the way, vigor. Otherwise, might if you're trying to hang on to him. However you want to work it.
I think it's might.
Okay.
Shit. I got a 4 on the spirit die. That's what I got.
Okay. You are pulled off of the Nova Pendra by the wind, but it pushes you upwards. You're going to slam into the roof of the room. You're going to take only 1 point of damage on a d6.
Fine.
And now, Fren.
Alright, I don't suppose I can use the. Am I muted still?
Nope,
I'm not
no,
muted.
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. I had to mute myself for a second because my dog was throwing a fit. So, I'm going to use the wind, if I can, to kind of launch myself back up over the edge to where we started and, like...
Go for it.
Like,
That sounds
to
like some
the edge for
athletics.
your life. That is definitely athletics. Vigor, because I'm trying to be agile rather than just straight up brawn.
All right.
1d4. Take any advantage I can get. I'm tiny. And 2, 3 successes, but that's only a 2 on the spirit die, so just the 3 successes.
3 successes? All right. You grab, you use the wind and come up and out of this vortex, landing on the edge. And you're seeing all this, Kola. Is there anything that you want to do for this?
Is anyone within my reach that if I could try to pull? Because I've got 2 arms.
Yeah. I will say.
I've got a lot of branches.
Yeah, let's. If you would like to try to make an athletics check to grab Valus out of the air.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it.
Okay, I don't have athletics.
It's always worth a try. It is a D6 for the skill.
Yes, it is.
And then, of
Just the
course,
D6, right?
well, the D6 plus, we're going to say either might or vigor. If you're trying to be quick with it, vigor. If you're trying to just use your strength, might. And then always your spirit dice with it.
Oh, so you still get the might?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's still 4 dice then.
Yes.
Yes.
1, 2 successes.
All right. You feel a branch grab you out of the air, Phalis. And I need to make a couple rolls here really quick. So also the Nova Pendra is caught by that updraft first. All right, and rolls 2 successes. So rather than being ripped off the shelves where it was, it grabs hold, even with the floor dropping out below it. It has a look of fear in its eyes. And then, ooh, I'm gonna tell you what I rolled. 2, 3, 5, 5, 5.
Nice.
You watch the wind as it comes up first into the chamber, hits the top, and then with suction goes right back out the bottom. And you watch as the Nova Pendra is ripped out of the bottom of this chamber, falling probably for days.
Oh, that takes care of that.
Help!
You watch as this room is destroyed. You watch as ancient texts and books are shredded, ripped from their shelves, slammed into each other. It becomes this vortex, this tornado of written word, and all of it just being funneled right back out the bottom. You feel it pulling on you as well. This is obviously some sort of trap that was meant to protect this stone.
That's still in my grips.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
I don't suppose you could put that back.
Not anymore.
Yeah, the dice is
Okay.
gone.
The dice is gone. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Time to go and grab as many people on our way, whether they're cultists or not.
Okay.
I assume I get pulled back onto the ledge at this point, and we're
Yeah.
safe to go.
Yep. You rush from the building, step by step out of here. Pieces of it are being ripped away. And at the very end, as you exit into the jungle, you watch the entire thing just fall. And now here is this couple 100-yard hole in this piece of the continent. The wind dies down, and you're all safe.
That was a little close.
Yeah, it's a little drafty.
We won, right?
I'm gonna...
I'm looking at. I have a glowing robot in my hand.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
say... Yeah, I know. It's just Ren pulls out one of her bags that's like empty and conveniently gym-sized, and it's like, just put that in here. We don't want it to attract any more attention. I don't want it in my possession, but it needs to go somewhere
Yeah.
home. It needs to go back to the Skyborns.
Yeah, this is going to probably need to be studied.
Yeah, I mean, there was probably all sorts of text that detailed it, but I think
anymore.
not anymore. We're not going to mention that part, right?
Nope, it was just sitting on a dais. That's all.
So we'll just say that several days later, you make your way to the tower of the Skyborn Order. The leaders of it argue incessantly what should be done with it. How should this be handled? And you get a glimpse into the politics that takes place within the Skyborn Order, and why, even though, as if you are some sort of chosen people amongst all the races here, there's still that human element, that the element of nobody knows. But those are issues better left to the elders and leaders. And eventually you find yourselves back on another mission. We then turn our story and our gaze to an endless supply of boxes in some sort of warehouse. And yes, somebody places the gem in there, slaps a label on it, and it goes off, probably to be forgotten until something else happens. And that
Believe
is
the
what we're going
best.
to call our game for today.
Probably for the better.
Yeah, yeah. Some unknown warehouse 13 situation. I'm okay with that.
I'm
I
good.
don't
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
that gem running around wild.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Overlight. Uh, they stopped. I think they stopped. I think the book is still in publication, but it was last year that they stopped putting out really new material for it. For a while there, they were doing new material Fridays, I think it was, and you could go. You can once you have this RPG, go to their website and download adventures, NPCs, all kinds of information that you can then roll and run in your own game. The Nova Pendra Birthriders is actually one of those pieces. And all it is it tells you about this group and their goals and everything else. So that's where this plot line essentially came from.
That's awesome.
So that said, I had a lot of fun with this one today. I hope you all enjoyed the plot line, something a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
So,
it,
you,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, the more I played with this system and got to experience it, the more I'm like, okay, it's a little overwhelming when you look at it on paper, but when you get into it, it's actually far more simple than it sounds.
Yep. That's what I was
So,
gonna say.
yeah. Well,
yeah, I was really like it. Now I'm regretting not picking it up when I had the chance a week ago. Like,
it's so it's an unfamiliar RPG. It's an
yeah,
unfamiliar world, and I think that is probably the thing that really has hit the deepest. Is we're going to hear clickety clacks. I got my basset is wandering around here, so she
oh,
is loud as hell. Um, but so the RPGs that present an alien world and an idea outside of what we commonly know for the fantasy Zeitgeist are tougher to get into, I think. And I think that's why Overlight, brilliant as it is, fun as it is, unique as it is, I don't know if we're going to see much else from it. But that doesn't stop it from being a fun and wonderful game. So,
Yep.
I
It's
I
definitely a
like
unique setting.
yes.
Yeah, and the although the it does take a bit to learn all the races and stuff, it's not like I could just step into D&D everything we've already heard of,
yeah,
but there's enough settings out there that have various different races, and these races do leave a lot of
They do.
uh, interesting creativity that you can do with them. And like mine was a tree person, but I could have just had a giant leaf on me or something like that.
Yeah.
Just some sort of animal plant combination. And the overall stats themselves are relatively clear. They're not
yeah,
like strange words and terms. Once you
no.
get
yeah,
hey, wisdom, vigor, performance, those are at least pretty easy to grab. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's at least a setting.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
I'm very thankful that it's a setting that they provided unique mechanics for. It's a magic system unlike anything else out there, really. So I've enjoyed the heck of out of it, and I love the use of color in it. So
yeah.
It's
It's
one of my favorites.
yeah. Neil was talking about Mistborn earlier. When it first came out, I had just read one of Brandon Sanderson's other books, Warbreaker, which deals a lot with chromatic magic. And so getting the chance to see this compared to what I originally thought of when seeing Overlight, I'm not disappointed. It's not what I was expecting, but it
yeah,
it works. I
yeah,
love it. It feels for being a very colorful world, it still feels a little grim. It almost kind of
oh,
feels
that's
not
also
grim in
me.
the yeah, well, But it feels like this isn't something like Blue Rose, where it's steeped in romantic fantasy. This
Mhm.
feels very much like a grounded in reality fantasy, where it's not idealized like Tolkien or Blue Rose, but it's not grimdark like 40K.
Oh no,
So
no.
it's that nice
Yeah.
balance to it, and I love it.
Yeah. I
That's what I like.
I went a little dark with the plot line for this, but when I saw and read about the Novapendra birthriders and the fact that they ate people, I was just like, okay, that
That's
sounds
fair.
terrifying. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do equal parts of that like bright and sparkly romantic fantasy, or take it as grim as you want to, and that's what makes it a pretty interesting system
Yeah.
And since
because it works for
since
both.
and since the various races do have a focus on what they're more likely to be, the compassion, the things like that, you could just set it on one of the plates and have just all these beings who are more attuned to different things. And like I said, my character's concept is they're a protector of this grove to start with. That's their thing. So you could set a whole thing where somebody tries to invade.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, you even set up another one where two of the plates collided and there was a battle. Uh,
Yeah.
the, things can happen like that. So there is a lot to work with.
That is the big thing. Is that this this book is there is a lot to work with. There are
It's
so many
thick. It's
stories
a
in it.
thick book.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty thick book
Yeah,
if you actually pull
yeah.
up the physical
It's
copy.
Yep.
It's
like
about it's a
400.
textbook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Uh,
I love the overall concept of they trusted the humans. They shouldn't have.
Don't trust the humans. Don't trust the humans.
Don't
Speaking
touch
as a human player, don't trust humans.
literally. There's just don't touch this. Touch.
Yeah.
pretty much. But it was fun. I had a great
It
time running
was.
this, and man, I could almost see running this again sometime. I actually really enjoyed running this. This is right in my wheelhouse where having the opportunity to work with just names, and I like dice pools. I
Yeah.
like dice pools rather than straight rolls.
Yeah, and this feels like a speaking of the dice pool. This is a much simpler dice pool mechanic than something like the stuff for vampire or other
Yeah.
White Wolf properties, or even
These heavy
uh,
games.
or even the storyteller system
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. And I like I like I would like to take this rule set and make it open, not for this world itself, but like I want
Yeah.
to use this rule set and do like a Final Fantasy game. I even this world would work really well for a Final Fantasy like adventure.
Yeah,
Yep.
as I was saying in the chat, there's a lot of systems out there where the six is a success, but you only are rolling d6s, so you don't get a
Yeah.
d6. It's 1 out of 6 to succeed. This at least opened the opportunity for a few more successes because you got to roll higher dice,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which was nice.
yeah. I
And
mean, like,
and statistically, because the amount of dice you're always going to roll, you should have roughly. I'm thinking it's like in the 20-30% that you should have a success.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think that's pretty true to what we saw in the game.
Yeah, I think I failed once totally.
yeah. I mean, minus my like breakout luck apparently that this show gives me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it feels good, and
Yeah.
it like Savage Worlds. It doesn't make not knowing something truly punishing. It makes it difficult because you don't have any training in it. But to get a bare success, you only need 2 successes on any die, and you're rolling 4 dice, even untrained.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, it's not the best chances of success, but it's still possible.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like impossible.
Yeah. Basically, my only overall criticism is much like other beautiful designed games, printing the few reference pages you need in your character sheet is a pain. At the very least, please put up a printer friendly character sheet PDF.
Yes.
please.
printer friendly and
Yeah, not colored.
yeah, also maybe making certain design decisions that make less aesthetic sense and more actual useful sense. Because I think there are points where they prioritize aesthetic over like actual ease of use. Just looking through character creation, I'm like, hmm. There were
Yeah.
definitely some moments where I'm like, even beyond trying to get the character sheet to work for me, if I were to make my own character, that was 100% technical difficulties on my end. But looking through the character creation process, it looks more convoluted than it needs to be.
Yeah. And that is unfortunately also my only critique with point buy
Yeah.
systems. So I
Yeah.
prefer a little bit more. Let me make a character in less than an hour and get into a game.
Yep.
But I'm not everybody. So that said, though, we're gonna go ahead and call it here pretty in the next second, a few seconds, or next minute or so. But because I need to make really quick announcements. So thank you to my players. Thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you so much, Corey, and thank you so much, Greg, for coming back and doing
Thank you.
this with me and trying out a system
Loved it.
that I would love to see more people playing, or at least getting a little bit more love. Uh, on top of that, we have some great games coming up. Of course, on Sunday we have Return of the Illuminated Page. Monday we come back with Star Trek: The Voyages of. Tuesday is going to be our
Leaps
By
and
Leaps and
bounds.
Bounties, our Seventh Sea Pirate game, and then Thursday this week will be the return of Growing Shadows. We're a every other game day thing. Also, this is the last seriously let's play of this month. Next month we have Big Eyes Small Mouth. I will be running that with I believe Corey, you're going to be back for that one hopefully. Matt Quiet and also Stephen Papin who plays in the Growing Shadows with me. He's going to be on that with me. We do have one more seat available. If you're on the Discord, let me know if you'd like to hop in on that. We then also have Action 12 Cinema coming from Michael Ross of the RPG Academy, which is a multi-Any nominated podcast conglomerate out there. I think they've had like about 10 different podcasts.
Yeah.
But Michael will be facilitating the game. It is a DM-less game. I will be on it, and then Danielle, I believe, is going to be on it, and we will have Monica back. Monica, if you, she was on our Fallout game, and currently, I think today she is over on. Can't remember the guy's name, but he runs D&D, and his name is Bear or something like that. Uh,
Yeah.
So he's fun to watch, and she's on their channel tonight, I believe. So that is March. Be sure to come on back for that. Go join our Discord and come see what all we've got going on. Lots happening, and I think that's gonna be about it. So night, everyone. Stay safe and enjoy your
No.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.